Okay, here we go. Is this thing on? Yep. Audio checks out. How we doing, everybody? It's been one hell of a day. Howdy, Xavier. It sure has. Hello, William GM. Hello, Nardi. Finish the game. You all are awful. You don't let me meme. Hello, Boltoy. Hello, Iman. Good to see you, John. Hello, Nobre. Hello, Koi Pop the 77th. Are you new? I don't recall having you in here before, but welcome. I have an hour. Surely that's long enough to get through the first 15 seconds. I don't know. Knowing me, we'll be lucky if we get through the first 10. Finishing the game on Loki's Plaf. Sup. Hello, Elrado. Alrighty. So, today is the day, chat. They finally confirmed that the DLC is not a myth. It in fact does exist. They actually were working on it behind the scenes. I know, I'm shocked as well. Hello, so many people coming in here to the chat. Welcome, Isabi. Welcome, Pedro. Oh, I've been waiting for this. So have I. If you ain't marrying Ron, he ain't finishing Shape Boy. Listen. Just because Miyazaki confirmed that there's no new ending in the DLC, doesn't mean they're not going to still let me marry Mikola. Okay, so all the other endings could happen, but I can always have Mikola on the side. He's the only one that truly understands me. Oh, yeah, we're excited. But yeah, so I'm gonna very quickly. One, I'm gonna close Discord for a sec, so that way I have less things I need to focus on. Also, why is my Elgato open? Like, what? Now I'm gonna turn this off for a second just so we can get rid of our background music. Also, yeah, close Twitter. We don't care about the Twitters. There we go. Because what we're here for is the trailer. We're all just mesmerized by lies. Yes, they will totally be lies. You aren't marrying Mikola! Take your pills! Never. It's time for the Haley Tree and Mikola lore now. I'm still not covering that stuff until at least the DLC comes out so we can get the full picture of what's going on with Mikola. Though, based on what interviews and stuff I've been saying, it's quite possible that the Mikola lore is going to actually, in the base game at least, is going to be largely separate from the lore we already have, which is an interesting angle they're going. Yeah. Hey, Loki, just finished listening to your talk with Acer. Oh, yeah, that's so funny. Well, that's good, because we never got to... Oh, yeah, we never got to the stuff with the bastard thing that Acer was talking about. The term he was looking for was Otoshigo, by the way. He was like, Kuso, Yabi, Yoshi. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever you say, Acer. Oh, I think he was trying to find the term Kusoyoro, which is not the term he was looking for. The term he was thinking of, I assume, was supposed to be Otoshigo, though. Because that's the one that, like, again, it could translate as bastard, but, it means, like, an unwanted child. At least in the Elden Ring, localizers translate as that a lot of times. And, like, has general meanings of, like, just the bad byproduct or consequence of something. It's used generically for monsters. You see it in, like, not just Elden Ring, but also Dark Souls and stuff. So, yeah, this is the part where Acer crashes the stream. It's like, Loki, you let me be humiliated on stream. Ree! No, but no. Yeah, the trailer. So same as Unwanted Children? Yeah, it can be. The thing is, it's not just Unwanted Children. So historically, Otoshigo referred to, it more literally means like a lost or fallen child, but it's historically refers to stuff like a noble's bastard, from what I understand. Which again, nobles tend to not want their bastard children. But the idea seems to be, generally that, yeah, it could connect to, like, foundlings and, like, being abandoned and stuff, similar to, like, Omen and stuff, though that's a different term. But the general meaning in modern times, writers use it to refer to, like, monsters and stuff. It's similar to, saying, like, bakemono or something like that. But, yeah, so in the case of, like, say, like, Estelle, the Kindred of Rot, soulless demigods, those are all Otoshigo. And the idea is just to basically kind of be like, okay, yeah, these are byproducts of something that we don't like, and that's how we and we don't generally, you don't want something that you don't like, right? So Is the Impaler's Catacombs the same term as his title? No, actually, I was able to confirm. The term for Impaler is using a very specific term unique to the Japanese. So we call Vlad Tepes Vlad the Impaler, and that's the same term being used to refer to this Mesmer character. But the term in Japanese is specifically like impaling lord, it means. So it's the same term used for Earl Arstor in Dark Souls 3. So he's another Vlad the Impaler reference. So yeah, they are very specifically drawing on that historical allegory to that character. 1,000 subs hype, the God Key will rise up again. Oh, did we hit 1,000 subs? Like, no joke, seriously? Wait, let me check, let me. No way did I make 1,000 subs today on this special day. No, I'm still at 953. No, okay. No, we're still not 1,000 subs yet. But hey, you know, hit that subscribe button and, you know, make me happy. It would really make me happy if we actually hit 1,000 subs today. Yeah, we're at over 950. I'm very grateful, by the way, that we're even so close to getting 1,000. But, like, yeah, I was like, you got me really hyped. I was like, oh my god, we hit a really big milestone. Didn't realize I wasn't subbed. Yeah, you guys, check your subscribe button. Make sure you're there so you're up to date on when I'm doing my Honkai Star Rail streams. We know that's what you guys come for. Not yet, you're close to legend. Yeah, we're getting there. Again, thanks everybody who's followed me for up until now. But today it's not about me, it's about this trailer. So let's get to it, okay? Let us begin, shall we? We shall start from the beginning. We're going to do one full look at, and then we're going to do it again. Now, this is the Japanese trailer because I want to highlight any nuances or differences in the Japanese script, which honestly there aren't really any. I think the dialogue in this seems to have been translated pretty on point. But let us begin. So this is how we enter the DLC. Oh, why do we have loading issues? Oh. Uh-oh. That's never a good sign. Oh boy. I'm not seeing chat move, which makes me nervous. Oh no, now I'm seeing it move, so. What's happening here? Is this because of the quality? Let me get it off 4K for a sec. Okay, yeah, it's working. I guess it was just having a loading hiccup. Ethernet said finish the game. Never! But okay, so if it's not going to let me do 4K, we'll do 4K for the, frame by frame, or at least we'll try. All right, let's see. So this is where we're entering the DLC.
And radiant, he wields love to shrive clean the hearts of men.
Mm-hmm. So we got, this is how we're going to enter, unsurprisingly. All right, so we get our establishing shot through this area. Gonna turn the music down a little so you guys can actually hear me. We get this cool establishing shot of like a bunch of areas in here. That's gonna be cool to go over.
In that forsaken place,
more NPCs that we're gonna meet.
Blood must spill. Blood of your fellows.
Some Karian lore.
They are true faithful.
My favorite swamp. Not cool guys. I love my portraits in my Souls games.
They were never saints.
Another dungeon.
They just happened to be on the losing side of a war.
Big enemy. That's gonna burn that whole field. Fucking worms. The big lion dancer. This is gonna be an interesting boss. And then Mesmer, huh?
Wouldst thou truly lordship sanction in one so bereft of light?
Mm-hmm. Interesting shadow character. So this seems to be the sleep magic. We got this interesting little night enemy we're fighting.
I presume you, too, are keen to know.
Gosh, that's gonna be a fun weapon. I can already imagine. I like this. This area looks really cool. Gravity magic was not on my bingo card, but I'm very happy to see it. This thing. Another unexpected enemy for sure. Now this is a lot to talk about.
Death in the embrace of Mesmer's flame.
Come now. Touch the withered arm and travel to the realm of shadow.
Now I think this is something Acer thought might be Mikola at the end.
May we meet again.
Then we get, of course, actual shot of Mikola. And then, like, the Sanctified Tree. And this, yeah. So, coming out in June. Coming out in June. Hey, Platty, good to see you. You got the impression the VO at the end was Mikola, I see. Hello, Scaleezy. Hello. Oh, wow. Yeah, lots of people are in here. Meunga boonga, but you're worse. Great for once in time for the start. Yeah, we're here. Welcome to the chat, everybody. Some of you, I don't recognize your names, so if you're new, but you've been lurking for a while, welcome on in. If you're new to the channel, period, just get in and get comfy. The clo draping the city around the shadow with the cleaver also resemble what the woman in the painting wears. I guess we'll have to see about that when we do a comparison. Messy murder is so sexy, yeah. Alright, so let's go to the specific instances here. So...
Radiant, he wields love to shrive clean the hearts of men.
yeah, this is basically true, yeah. So the idea of, like, Mikola using love in order to basically, like, you know, bewitch you, right?
Clean the hearts of men.
And doing it, like, with this, like, bright, like, aura to it.
There is nothing more terrifying.
Yeah, the only thing I can add here is that he's saying from, like, the bottom of his heart. So it's like, yeah, he doesn't think that there's anything more horrifying. Yeah, from, like, the deepest part of his core, I guess you could say. But yeah, so that's the only thing I really have to add. Again, like, this localization's pretty on point for this stuff. And then we have up here.
In that forsaken place.
Yeah, so place here is referring to land. So again, just like how we have the lands between, we have this place which I think is officially being called the Realm of Shadow. Correct me if I'm wrong. The term here, though, is also land. And it's sort of like, you know, land in shadow, land of shadow. When I was, like, translating this off the cuff, I was trying to keep it consistent with lands between for the interview stuff, and I called it, like, land shadowed. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, same idea, though. Yeah, there's the idea of, like, we're all meeting to kill each other in various ways.
Blood must spill.
Yeah.
Blood of your fellows.
Yeah, and then this whole, those who are supporting the Erd Tree.
The Earth Tree faithful.
They will never.
Yeah, so, this seems like it's the way this is worded in the Japanese makes me think this is part of a larger dialogue. Like, if I had to guess, there's the idea that Mesmer is oppressing all the peoples in this area. Because the way this here changes the tone of the statement to something more like, you know, they're not, to oversimplify, good people. I think the localization uses, like, saints, right? Right.
They were never saints.
Yeah, they were never saints. Okay, yeah. So this one's basically saying, you know, it's like they're not good people either, right? So like they're not like, you know, these good, innocent, like righteous folk themselves. So she's clearly making a comparison to people. So if the idea seems to be like, you know, both sides aren't necessarily good, but one side is the loser.
Just happen to be on the losing side.
Yeah. These guys are simply the losers. They simply became the losers, yeah. So there seems to be the idea that there's this conflict here between Mesmer's forces and another faction or factions, and that Mesmer's obviously the winner, and they're oppressing people, but that doesn't mean the other people who are getting oppressed are necessarily like folks you want to get chummy with either, right? It's not to say like, you know, it's a both sides argument. You know, both sides are in the wrong to some extent, I guess you could say. So that's interesting, I think. Nothing here. We just got the fight, and then of course Mesmer also has this line.
Mother, wouldst thou truly lordship?
Yeah, forgive, permit. Wouldst thou? Has mother truly permitted kingship to one who lacks light, or one bereft of light? Yeah, kind of. So it's speaking very generally, using nadol there. So it seems like, yeah, this is not addressing Marika per se. It's more so speaking rhetorically, where he's trying to basically say, this is if I had to guess, this is probably what happens before we enter the boss fight, right? Like, this is the line that might actually match up with the video here, where like we go up, we hear him, and he's like sitting in the chair, and he's saying this line before he does all this junk. And it's sort of like the idea of like, you know, he's facing a Tarnished, and he's like, really, this Tarnished is going to be the next Lord, the next Elden Lord? Like, seriously? Like, is that what Mother's going to allow? Is like something like that's gonna happen? Like, I can't accept that, right? Does Messy Man use male or female pronouns? He uses watashi, right? No, he doesn't actually use it here. Maybe it's later, and I'm thinking later in the trailer. We'll see when we get there. Yeah, so we got all this. And this part.
I presume you, too, are keen to know.
Yeah. You two are keen to know. Yeah, this is, basically I think I consider presume would be also work. Yeah, and this is like, you surely want to know, right? So like, you also surely want to know something. So like, this guy's just basically, yeah, nothing crazy here, Dad.
Just what kind of...
Lord Mikola here, so Sama is being used, so this is gender neutral, but we know Mikola's a guy. He's always referred to as he, even in interviews recently. Why, like, for what purpose, what reason that Mikola is in this land?
is doing here.
Yeah. So this is definitely, because this is using, Kono, we know for sure this is an NPC who's in the new area, and we're talking to him there. So that's, and I bring that up because there's an interesting contrast I want to make out later. Then we get to this. So, death to all who lack the grace of gold. This is meant to indicate it's the object. Now, this is very common, especially when you're making like a dramatic declaration in like, you know, these fantasy type works, where you're like basically saying, you know, the implication is supposed to be like, I bring death, or I'm going to condemn you to death, or whatever, right? So it's like, you know, death to all who lack the grace of gold, you know, something like that. And then he's gonna now use a synonym here.
The grace of gold shall all meet death.
Right. And here he replaces it, so again, it's still an object. So this is sort of like, this is done a lot, especially in Miyazaki's works, where he'll say one thing, and then he'll say an alternative thing, which is referring to the same thing, right? So it's like, you know, this is basically him saying this is a synonym for what I just said. So when I talk about the death, I'm talking about the flame of Mesmer. So this is, you know, very typical, nothing too crazy here. So this is again something I imagine he's saying, like probably during either the beginning of the fight, maybe during the phase transition or whatever.
Death in the embrace of Mesmer's flame.
Yeah. So, you know, death to all, and then it's like the flame of Mesmer.
Come now, touch the withered arm and travel to.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so now come, you know, touch that withered arm over there. Yeah, and head to the land of Shadow. Yeah, they're calling it Realm of Shadow, so that I think that's gonna be the official name for it.
I will not be far behind.
Now, yeah, this is where the Watashi is. It's for this character here.
May we meet again.
Now, here's the thing that's interesting. Is not only do they reference the arm, which suggests that this is someone outside of it, it also now uses here kano instead of kono, which kano is more like that versus this. So instead of this land, it's that land, and we'll meet again. So basically, it's saying maybe we meet again in that land. So if this is Mikola, it's a character. It's a character that we're gonna be hearing or talking to or meeting outside, probably at the boss room at the time. Now, watashi can also be used by women. It should be known. It's not typically a male pronoun. It's used in polite speech, so it can be used by males, especially if you're like in a formal context, like say the service industry or something like that. Like you'll hear a lot of like servers and stuff use watashi. But yeah, so this could also just be a woman, and it's actually has nothing. It's not Mikola at all. So again, just wanna. Yeah, and there's no dialogue through this section, right? So. Yeah, okay, let's catch up on the chat now, see if there's anything interesting to bring up. Twitter's already filled with theories and analysis. I love the idea that Mesmer impaled Marika and Mikola, putting her to sleep to soothing her suffering. Now, there is the interview that we're actually the interviews I've read do open up that possibility. There is a mystery dangling about Mesmer because Mesmer's sitting in one of the chairs that you see in the room where you fight Morgott. Whether it's like the throne, the Elden throne that Morgott, like, you know, has in that room, or one of the phantom chairs. I assume the phantom chairs. I think it's the IGN interview that actually clarifies more than the Famitsu one. Let me double check that. Let me see. Did I paraphrase the notes by chance? Yeah, Chaler was in the room where you fought Morgott. The chair was where the children of Marika, the so-called kings, possessing all the great runes like Morgott and Melania, sat. Yeah, so okay. Yeah. Who does appear in the story. Yeah, okay. So yeah, it seems like it could be any one of those chairs. Now, we don't see a spare chair in the final game currently. That could always change. They could always, like, retcon something. Always possible. But there is sort of an idea that this is a character who could have been one of the demigods with a great rune, but we don't necessarily see this character have a great rune, or be a demigod that takes part in the shattering. And they're dangling a mystery, I should say, over our heads about the idea that maybe there's a specific reason why no one talks about Mesmer. He'll appear as a ghost next to the egg, maybe. Yeah, that's totally possible. We could have Mikola be like some weird like spirit thing. Because again, another thing that interviews make clear is that rather than the guidance of grace guiding us, you know, we have the little like directions given to us by the grace points. We're instead going to have the quote unquote footprints of Mikola. So it seems like we're going to be tracing Mikola's steps through the lands, and all these footprints are going to serve as our substitute for the guidance of grace. Now, I don't know if that means we're gonna have grace points, but it's gonna be like, I don't know, like purple Trina, you know, magic that's gonna point us around instead of grace magic or something, or if we're gonna have something separate from grace points in here because, you know, the goodness of grace doesn't want us to come here or something like that. So that I don't know. We don't see any grace points in this game, right? So it could be we're gonna have a completely separate quote unquote checkpoint system. Did I read the Famitsu interview? Yes, I've read both interviews. Now, I didn't take notes for anything beyond, like, the lore stuff, because I don't care about all the gameplay stuff. So I have nothing new I can add on that front. The NPC Taki is probably the one that talks in the beginning about being afraid of Mikola. It's a separate gender, though, isn't it?
Pure and
Oh, you mean the one that we see. So this one here. Yeah, that's totally possible. This could be, if this I give based on like the skirt and stuff, this could be like a female NPC who we talk to, and she's the one who's gonna introduce us there. Yeah, that's totally possible. I can see that. I wonder how he's connected to the volcano manor, because he clearly is in a way, right? Well, there's a lot of fire and snake imagery with Mesmer, so one would think there might be a Gelmir connection, but again, it's hard to say because we have it no context, and it could be very misleading. Let's see, musical score is absolutely delicious. I mean, it's FromSoft. We're gonna have a lot of good classical music. Hopefully, they're not gonna go overboard with all the dramatic stuff, though. I do want some more variety, like we had with the what's it called? The you know, the giant deer thing. The architecture in the Land of Shadow really loves these spiral columns with deep grooves, like bloodletting weapons. Yeah, I'm not sure, though, if it has to do with that. There could be a Mikola connection, but it doesn't say Mikola's in control here, so it might be a Mesmer connection, because we do see some of that twisting stuff, specifically with snakes. I think I said Caduceus. I think I said that his thing looked like a Caduceus, but I think that English pronounces it Caduceus, right? I'm sure some Greeks will complain, but I'm just going to go with Caduceus just to be more easy on the ears for English speakers. But yeah, this looks like it's like one snake. It's not two separate snakes with heads, so it's just one snake with heads on each end. It has wings too, so that's interesting. So like, there's a lot we can do here. But yeah, now we've done 2 quick look throughs. Now we're gonna have the fun part, which is going frame by frame if needed. Now this section, there's really not too much to add beyond like what we said with this character. Has this like sort of like dress robe thing. I'm not expecting we're gonna discern too much about these NPCs because again, typically the NPCs have very like idiosyncratic backstories and stuff.
Radiant, he wields love to shrive clean the hearts of men.
Interesting how there's so much talk about Mikola being so terrifying and stuff, considering that the entire premise to this DLC is trying to uncover why Mikola has left for this other world. Gonna be probably Trina bells as the spawn points. Yeah, boy, bring them back. Bring back our lanterns. Yeah. So this is all like typical stuff. I'm not gonna. There we go. Now let's get to the important thing. Here we go. So to start, we have a waterfall here. Looks like another waterfall over here. It looks like there may be something blocking it, though, like maybe a bridge or maybe more of this architecture. It's a bit hard to see. This is where I'm going to try to go 4K so we can get the best quality here. We also have a bunch of ghost graves, which is interesting because we also see physical graves in other parts of the trailer, I think. So there's a lot. There's a lot going there. Sky's under a veil. Yeah, we also see the veil, which goes through the sky. Now, we have a talk about this in the interview. Let me just try to draw that up. Yeah, the veil in the sky denotes the separation between the lands between and this realm of shadow. Concept where it is separated / hidden from the outside world. So there's the idea that this entire landscape is being hidden. Similar to how the Hunter's Nightmare was supposed to be, like this big secret from the Yharnam as a whole, right? The hunters weren't supposed to figure out that there's this nightmare that they are doomed to descend into, right? Big deal was made about that. We also see conifers. Lots of conifers here. I can't tell what color these are supposed to be, if these are supposed to be golden like on Altus or just like the generic green. It's hard to see with this lighting as it is currently. We see a big cathedral like structure up here on this tall hill, like the Cathedral of Manicelis. There's a bridge here. Another big bridge here leading to this other castle structure. Now, I can't tell. Is this the castle structure leading that's like surrounding the shadow tree that we see in the background? Marika took her mimic veil and scaled it up. She's like, you know, this one's a little small. It's the prototype. I'm trying to make it even bigger. Hell yeah, I love being coniferous. The voice talks about being terrified, and the one that talks about kind Mikola are quite similar. You think it's the same person for that? We'll have to do a comparison then when we get to that section. Lots of smoldering butterflies in Gelmir. Yeah, but there's lots of fire on Gelmir, and the smoldering butterflies, there has been a theory going around now that Mesmer, instead of Melina, may be the one who is represented by the smoldering butterflies. Because the idea is you have the nascent butterflies, the rot butterflies, I think that's what they're called, right? And these smoldering butterflies, right? And they each have their potentially different origin. We see smoldering butterflies seem to spawn or be attracted to fire. Obviously, rot butterflies spawn from rot. Nascent butterflies may or may not spawn from water. Jury's still out on that one. But there is at least indication that they are thematically connected to rot to Melania, nascent to Mikola, and now possibly fire to Mesmer. Now, this would be especially interesting, considering that this would mean that all three are potentially children of Radigan and Marika. Because we have confirmation from interviews that Mesmer is a child of Marika, and he's compared to the other demigods as far as, like, his power level and stuff of, like, you know, he's going to be a big boss, right? He's going to be, like, the big story boss we have to fight. Yeah, the Aeonian butterflies, that's what they're called. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jet. Looks like Anor Londo because of the flying buttresses and stuff, similar to the capital or Halo tree. Yeah, you're right. There are the flying buttresses in the back corner there. I wonder if they're reusing the assets at all, or they're at least reskinned or something. But yeah, so that also potentially recontextualizes the grave next to the minor Erd tree. Because, again, one of the reasons why the obvious explanation for why Mesmer is not talked about is because he's long dead, potentially, and he only exists in this spirit world or whatever. That's totally possible. Makes even more sense if Melina also comes from the spirit world, if she's the Glowmind Queen and all, because then we can get the idea that, like, the dead demigods might go to this realm by default or something if they're not, you know, destined deathified. The cathedral is actually a more complete Manus Celis model, apparently. I did see Sekiro Dubi talking about that on Twitter, but I didn't read it in depth, so I'll have to, like, do a straight comparison at some point. How definitive is Messer being a child of Marika? Miyazaki does not mince his words. He just straight up says, yeah, it's a child of Marika. In fact, let me pull up my notes here. Yep, also called a child of Marika. Yep. On same level, Godric, Melania, Radon, Rykard, etc. Sits in the same chair during that. So yeah, they're very, and it's several interviews that he states this. So like, it's not just like the one time offhand. Like he's very clear that yeah, Mesmer is one of Marika's children. So we have another demigod on our hands. The question is, does this mean that red-haired Mesmer is a child of Radigan? If so, was this after his marriage to Marika? And before or after conceiving the twins? Because, again, this, like I say, going back to the butterflies, this would mean that all three are potentially children of Radigan and Marika during Radigan's reign as Elden Lord. That is very interesting, because it highlights the fact that he is not talked about, because he would be very recent in the timeline, despite the fact that he has a lot of memorabilia and stuff, which would presumably come from later in the timeline. But yeah, let's keep on advancing this. Anything real special here? The graves, I assume, are the same as what we see in the teaser art with Mikola. Oh yeah, also the character in that teaser art from like a year ago, Miyazaki also confirms that yes, that is Mikola in that art. So yeah, no more young Marika theorists on this. It's 100% just Mikola. What a shocker. We also have this tower thing here, right next to the castle. Like, I guess I should say between the two castles. This reminds me of the bell towers that we see in Liurnia, right? The ones that let you teleport to far-off places. I wonder if we have a similar thing going on here. Radigan is half fire giant. There's your fire lineage, yeah. The flame is also very interesting because I've seen, like, Acer, for example, has looked into the idea that maybe it has to do with giants. I think it might have to do with the whole Shadow of the Erd Tree thing. I think the lion is breathing stone instead of death blight. Wait, which lion are we talking about here? Are we talking about later? What are we getting into? The awkward wording in that interview is tripping me up. No, the wording is very straight up. He's just saying, yep, also a child of Marika. So basically, he's conflating, Mesmer is being conflated with the others who are referred to as Marika's children in, like, the opening of the game and stuff. Because the demigods who are children of Marika and stuff like that, is like terms used we see, and that seems to be the idea, is to be like, yeah, he's in that class. Now, granted, we do have exceptions like Godric, right, who isn't an actual child of Marika, even though he's called a demigod. You know, it goes into like the descendants thing and stuff. But in this case, it seems pretty open and shut that yeah, this is going to be like a Morgoth, a Melania, Rykard, etc. Actually, I shouldn't say Rykard thing, because Rykard is technically adopted. But yeah, it's supposed to be like, you know, children of Marika, potentially by blood, maybe by adoption, if you want to argue that it's like Radigan and Renala's child, but got adopted like the other three. But like, I don't know if that's all too likely at this point. Also, the Newman presets are dark hair plus dark skin, but Marika is blonde, blue eye, and pale. Yeah, some people have thought that that might have to do with the either her approximation to the Erd Tree, or the precursor to the Erd Tree, and the or from her becoming a god. I know some people have thought that the black-haired woman that we see in the portraits might be Marika. All right, so not much is changing here, so I'm gonna move it along. Interesting how there's these like flakes which are falling. It's very subtle, but you can see some falling here. I assume that's coming from the shadow tree. Yeah, see? These right up here. So my assumption is going to be that we're going to see like the shadow trees like, you know, slowly like flaking away. These, like I said, are from the teaser art. I assume that includes the graves with holes in them, which may be relevant for stuff we see later on. But I do find it interesting we have this castle, which looks like it's using the standard Norman architecture we see with Banished Knight stuff. I don't know if it's, again, being... there's a few of those pointed stuff that have some of those like additional signs of a mix of cultures, which we've seen. Like, for example, Karya Manor has this. We also see the same thing with the Volcano Manor. So this may be some facility which actually existed in the real world at one point and was a meeting of two peoples from the farm colonists plus someone else, and then that's how we got this. It is worth noting also in one of the interviews. Where is it? Let's see if I can find this. Physical, right? Like that's what it's. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there is, I think, the IGN interview goes over and says that. Wait, is this? Yeah, this IGN interview. It says that this this realm of shadow was once part of the lands between, but it was physically separated from there for some reason. This is, if this is exactly how the IGN interviewers mean, this could hold huge implications. Because it might mean that what we're seeing here is actually not just like, you know, simulations of lands, but possibly actual pieces of lands which were you know, taken away from the existing landmass. And that could change a lot of things. Like, for example, what if that gorge, which we see on Altus Plateau, where, like, the minor Erd Tree is now, with the forest-dwelling runes and all that, what if that gorge is only there because the land which once took up that space was ripped out and taken into this Spirited Away here? Because if so, that could change a few things. Or what if the entire, like, central area and stuff of Altus Plateau that we see, with all that, you know, like, you know, dead air and water, what if that is actually pieces of landmass that were taken up and were lost? Like, there's a lot that could be implying. Now, it could just be like a terrible paraphrase, and it's not actually, like, they're talking about how it's physically separated, but not actually, you know, from the real world, quote unquote. But we'll see. You guys are still talking about all that breath stuff for the Lion Dancer. We're getting there. The DLC might be the hole in the middle of the map. Exactly. Like, it could be that there was actually a lot more land there than we previously thought. And that could change a lot of things, because that could recontextualize a huge amount of stuff, especially if these graveyards are, like, contemporaneous to some periods or something that were lost. Anyway, so, not too much I see here now. Let's move away. All right. So, a few things of note. One is, again, we have these graves. A lot of these spirit graves here. Oh. There we go. We see these, which were also in the teaser art, in these fields. It's hard to say what these are engraved on top of them, because it's so far away, but it's worth noting there is these holes here, which could be relevant. These graves all look like normal flat gravestones. I don't see anything special here. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything of them like with holes like we see in the art at this point. We do see, though, a map monument. So this does seem to confirm that we are going to be collecting map pieces and stuff, which means more lore about the different regions, which could be very useful. We also see this town covered in drapes and veils. And I think we get another angle of this, maybe in screenshots at least, but I think we do get another look at this in other places in this trailer, which will be interesting to see. And then in the background here, we have all these mountains with roots. I'm curious if these are supposed to be roots of the shadow tree or something else entirely. Again, more conifers and stuff. In fact, conifers seem to dominate. This seems like a normal tree, but conifers seem to be, like, by far, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, conifers seem to absolutely dominate this area. This reminds me a lot of Altus, because I think Altus is the same way. Like, conifers, I think, are a lot more densely packed in common throughout most of the plateau. And I think this reinforces the idea that this may not just be, this may be lost parts of the plateau, which, potentially even predate the Erd Tree rising up, so that could be cool. Yeah. Also, we see more stuff here that looks destroyed and things. I think we get another look at this from another angle at some point. The map guy was here. Hey, Adolphus, good to see you in the chat. Yeah, Altus has tons of conifers. Yeah, exactly. The conifers dominate the right-hand side from that perspective, but you have different forestry on the left. Let's look again. We see conifers here in this corner. It may be, though, we may have to go further in the trailer, and I'll see what you mean. So let's go here now. Again, more, we see more of this field, so it's possible that this is actually part of what we already see here. And then conifers, 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 conifers. Ah, I see. Here on the left side, over here, we definitely see the more traditional forestry. And it looks like it might be the yellow forestry. But it's hard to tell. It kind of looks greenish to me from here. So I wonder if this is the same field here, and they're just kind of trying to get across, like... Because we have here, and you can start seeing the field with the graves, right? And then you have here. Could be a different angle. Depends on where, if we see this town here in this shot. And then up here. No, because this is the same cathedral thing we saw here, right? So. Yeah, okay. This is the same thing we saw here. Okay, so these are definitely, like, completely different shots. This is just movie editing. Yeah, okay. So this, all this over here... We see this is below this cliff. Yeah. So this is down at the bottom of the cliff. Okay, so these ghost graves and fields are going to be like a recurring thing we're going to see like in a lot of parts of this map. There's also the ghost conifers in the lands between. Yeah, but those are confined to the mountaintops. So, yeah. I've talked about conifers in past streams and stuff. As I say before, I believe the conifers all originate from the mountaintops. They then naturally descended down the winds that head onto the from the mountaintops down the plateau, and that's how they spread there naturally. And then we have people groups from the astrologers mainly who brought these essentially as they traveled and spread across the lands between. Their regular movements also brought along certain tree seeds and stuff through the same way that like animals and stuff end up doing so. And then this causes these trees to end up in other areas, such as along the north and west parts of Liurnia, down in Caelid, etc., etc. Oh yeah, website says Marika took her first steps in this land. Yeah, I talked about this in Acer's stream as well. So this term for first step, I assume it is the localization's translation for what is used on the Japanese website. And this is from this, yeah, so the English description is like a place obscured by the Erd Tree where the goddess Marika first set foot. Then we have in the Japanese website, we have, a land or lands hidden in the shadow of the golden tree, the Erd Tree, the place the god Marika stepped down upon. Now, step down, means to like descend, go down to, etc. It's a term that you'll see, like, say if you're dismounting a horse, you'd get off or get down from the horse, right? So, that type of meaning. So I assume when the idea is, first set foot upon, it's the idea, she stepped foot upon, you have to step, you have to, place your foot down upon. So I think that's what the localization is trying to capture. I do find the interest of descending an interesting idea, because I wonder if there's this idea of this is like an underworld or netherworld, especially if this connects to like the spirit worlds and stuff like that. The Shadow Realm must be hard to find since Miquella became a tree to enter it. Possibly. It's hard to say. It's hard to say without context, because it's quite possible that Miquella found it by accident, and it's not exactly the only way you could get there, especially if there's so many other NPCs here. Like, did all of them happen to get past Moog, or wait until we killed Moog before they entered and stuff? We're just gonna have to see in the actual DLC how the game treats it. It looks green, and there are green trees in the website screenshots. Oh, that's good to clarify, Xavier. That's especially useful, because again, we're trying to see, we're gonna get an idea of lands before the Erd Tree, before the Erd Tree existed, so. Perfect, perfect. All right, so back to this. Yeah, this is the same town. Okay, yeah, this is the same town. Okay, so if I have this right, so the shots go, we're on this cliff, right? We are heading toward this town, which we can see here. So we're like heading down here this way, or maybe from this way, and that's why we couldn't see it. Yeah, you know, it's probably from like this direction down here, and this is the edge of the town we saw, because you have all the roots and stuff that need to be in the background here. Yeah, so that makes sense, and all of this wasn't seen that way. And then finally, of course, we were here. So there's the bridge, there's the castle, you have this dirt road with the fields and stuff, you have all this stuff in the background. And this would be the same thing, so somewhere like around here-ish. Again, we have these spiral patterns on these pillars here. That might also be what's happening here with this tower. Again, I like the veil drapery imagery, considering the same thing is done here with this shadow tree. And then we have the cathedral here. Is that a different building? Yeah, it looks like there's another structure here. Interesting. I think the JPN website clarifies this place is where America became a god altogether and where the Erd Tree was born. Yes. Yes, that is something to say. Like, this is the land where America became a god and the Erd Tree was born. So you can always question what exactly it means by birth or became a god, but that is the statement that is actually made in the interview that Miyazaki did with Famitsu, and it's also stated on the website. I think it's under one of the like story sections or something. It's just, like, a very brief thing. Yep. So that's true. I don't see anything on the edges here. There are these like root-like structures here, and this looks like it may be another legacy dungeon out in the corner. Hard to say. What makes me fascinated about this up here is that there's this structure here, which looks like it might be in ruins, but also may have actually acted as some sort of like collecting basin for what's dripping out of the tree here. I find that very fascinating, if so. So that's going to be neat. And yeah, look, there's something. This might be the Deathblight area. This might be Acer's desired area filled with Deathblight. Just looking at the way this stuff twists, and it kind of looks like it might have these rough edges. This reminds me a lot of those Deathblight models that we've seen with like Godwin and stuff. Sounding like the Shadowland was part of the map at some point then? Yeah, exactly. This is, again, combined with like what the IGN interview and stuff is saying. It does sound like we may be seeing actual parts of the land that were translocated into this like spirit world type deal. If so, that's going to be just as interesting, because it will give us like pieces of the existing map, which give us potentially a look at an earlier point in history that we can then put back and overlay in certain sections of the in-game map. That could be very cool. Hey, Dino Matrix, welcome to the chat. Hello, Not Jesus. There's the Great Tree and the Erd Tree. Maybe this is the Great Tree before the Golden Light. Again, I don't subscribe to the Great Tree theory, quote-unquote, in the first place. And I detail that in my Erdtree's beginning analysis on the exact circumstances why and all that. But the general idea that America gave birth, America like started the Erdtree properly here is not unfathomable for sure. The idea that like we didn't have a proper Erdtree, quote unquote, until she became God, that's totally possible. I'm also interested seeing all these roots here, because there's like all this bright light and shining, and we see something similar with Mikola, but it's like even brighter. So I'm kind of curious what's going on up here. Because again, it has this very darkness here, but then there's all this glowing light here. I wonder if there's something like this is like the shadow, you know, like the shadow side to the Erdtree that's reaching out, and as it gets closer to the sky with the veil, it's getting closer to like connecting to like the roots of the Erdtree or something like that. Are you excited to do more battle plotting from Graves, Loki? Yes. Yes, that's probably gonna happen if so. If this is actually someplace where like it fits into the actual history, then yeah, we're probably gonna have to look at the graveyards and things and look for similarities and stuff. I actually think this is more interesting, LOL. Yeah, I find this entire trailer filled with interesting stuff that I think a lot of people are gonna like. Well, like I said from the beginning, I was just expecting like, you know, stuff, more lore on Mikola and stuff on the spirit world / dreams and things like that, and we're getting exactly that. So like my expectations have been met, and on top of that, there's a lot of stuff I was hoping for, and I'm actually very happy to see like some of this stuff is here. Like I was expecting another demigod. Like I was like, they're gonna introduce another demigod that's unmentioned in the existing lore, but it's in Martin's mythos. Like that was something like I think we even last stream yesterday we were talking about that possibly happening. So it's like that was one of the things where I was like, yeah, that Mesmer checks that box easily enough. Anyway, so we're gonna move on. Again, more of the spirit graves. This seems to be situated. Seems to be up here on this little tableland here. So past this waterfall. And it looks like a rune. That's what's most curious about this. It really looks like a great rune. Do you think we'll get some kind of closure or clarity regarding Godwyn? No, because I think there's enough closure and clarity with Godwyn in the final game. Like, I think there's so much Godwyn and Deathblight lore, I don't think the game really needs to add much more. I think the fan base just needs to, like, get their thinking caps on for that. So, I don't think they're going to add too much more lore onto this. Like I said, there's going to be that area in the corner with the Deathblight probably for a dungeon. Maybe there'll be a few other things, but I don't think it's going to be a major focus here. But again, I could be wrong. Again, the trailers are going to be incredibly misleading. Like, that's just the nature of trailers. So there's going to be tons of stuff that we're going to be blindsided by once the DLC is out, I'm sure. Ronnie's rune! There she is! Ooh, that's an interesting idea. Could this be Ronnie's missing rune? Mikola rune. People are also bringing up that. Godwyn's just a tumor now. We didn't see in this trailer any sign of, like, Godwyn, like, spirit lookalike or whatever. So if you're hoping for like a phantom copy of Godwyn who's gonna have like his fighting style in his heyday, I mean, well, keep hoping. I mean, it may be a surprise they'll throw at us, but it's not in this trailer, unfortunately. Death Swamp. Yeah, we're gonna get an entire new swamp. Like, Miyazaki talked about how he's getting introspective about swamps and stuff and how he adds them to his games and things, and he's hoping that when the player finds his new swamp, they'll be introspective too. That sounds like him basically trolling that he made like the worst swamp he's ever made. I'm gonna laugh if that's actually the case. I think the rune is just there so we don't get spoiled by seeing it in a Divine Tower. So you don't think this is actually how we would find it in-game? You think this is just for the trailer? That's the side that the Rune of the Unborn and Melania's rune is on. That would add potential credence to it having to do with, Mikola, then. The rune reminds me of the Bleeding Eclipse. Huh. Yeah, I can see it. Loki, choose the ending I will do for ER, except, FF, I don't know which one that is. I shall finish ER on your behalf. I don't know, chaos take the world! May chaos take the world! There you go. The tombstones in this shot seem to be solid and glowing, not transparent like the rest. It's hard to say because it's at night, so the glowing may be more prominent here. it may look like they're more solid just because there's not other light passing through it or whatever. Actually, this is interesting because I was talking to Acer about the idea that maybe this area has set lighting, but the fact we see this night background seems to suggest that no, there will be a day-night cycle in this area. Now that's going to be cool if so. Oh, FF meant Frenzied Flame. Well, too late. Okay, besides that, I don't know, screw Fia. Just get cucked by Fia. Is this the checkpoint? Ooh, that's an interesting point, Bolt Toy. This could be our new Grace Point, maybe. Pieces of Miquella's Great Rune that he has left behind as his quote-unquote footprints. That's a very good idea. I actually like that. Take a look at the pre-order gesture. I think it imitates this shape. The one where the person makes a circle while, like, holding it. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like, the person stands here, so they would be the line, and then they're making their hands, like, form an almost circle. So, yeah, I could see that. The dung ending. Yeah, everyone. Curses! Curses for you! Curses for me! Curses for everybody that I can see! That'd be good. Okay, so again, all this like matter that's falling from this tree, I find very interesting. You can also, these are leaves, I assume, right? So, interesting that they have all this like leaf matter in the air. I wonder if this is like in the entire area or this is just for this section. We could see, looking back here, again, more of those ruins with more of those graves. So this is going to be a frequent sight. There's going to be a lot of these spirit graves. We can also see what looks like ancient Civ ruins. These look like the ancient Civ ruin assets over here. I'm wondering if this is going to be an ancient Civ structure then. That could hold some major implications about their culture that we're missing. An ending where everyone eats shit for eternity, yeah. For sure. Yeah. I'm also curious about these archways, because these arches we're finding so common among these grave areas, but they don't seem to serve any particular purpose, right? Like, they're not, like, around roads to add, like, fancy, like, decoration or anything. Maybe they're supposed to be portals, or maybe they serve some religious function. I don't know. I'm also curious what this structure is here. It looks like it could be a trebuchet. Like, this might be, like, the hanging bit, so maybe we're gonna get, like, we're gonna get barraged as we try to climb up to get into this castle area, kind of like with Langdell. I could see that. Also, this character here. Interesting helmet design with the sharp, like, talon claw thing here. I don't recognize the crest on the back. Like, that looks almost like a king's crown at the top there, but it's super blurry. And then you have something else going on down there. Would they change the graces just in the DLC? I'm not really sure. Again, they talk about Miyazaki in the interview. I paraphrased it. Where do I have it here? Grace. So the main game, we follow the guidance of Grace. DLC, we follow Miquella's footsteps, as he's headed to this realm of shadow. So there's a huge equation being made of how the guidance of Grace for the DLC is going to be Miquella's footsteps. That's going to be the thing that's going to point you in the direction to keep going. So, will they get rid of guidances of Grace entirely? I'm not sure, but I can see it based on how it's being talked about as being a case where we'll have the same checkpoint system, but with reskin though as like Miquella stuff instead of actual Grace. Because again, there's Miyazaki hints that the Shadow of the Erd Tree subtitle is actually a double, it's supposed to have a double entendre, which, it's pretty obvious. The idea is that this is the dark side of the golden tree, right? Like, this is the less bright stuff. This is the thing that's hidden away that we're not supposed to see. That's the ugly part of this Erd Tree's order and all that, right? And you might say, well, isn't that kind of the point of the game? Well, clearly Miyazaki thinks it's not obvious enough, and he wants to beat us over the head with it. But yeah, he's basically going to be, like, talking about how it seems like the whole big revelation of this DLC is supposed to be how the Erd Tree is secretly bad. And that we're going to really see how bad it actually is. In that case, I could totally see Guidance of Grace not being here, because the guidance the greater will slash Two Fingers or whatever does not want us to actually see this reality. No connections to the Eclipse Ritual / Castle Soul either. Those people just achieve nothing, or I just didn't get that lore. The Castle Soul stuff is supposed to be that they're failures, right? If I recall correctly. Mikla seems to use them to some extent, and this Great Rune may relate to the Eclipse in some manner. But I have not done enough big enough deep dive into the Eclipse stuff to kind of tell you if there's like some like secret different secret, like, you know, they're actually the winners in all this. Elden Beast duo. Yeah, you know what we need for new bosses in this game? Give us like 2 Elden Beasts. Alright, so, conifers on this side. Huge spiky stuff on this. Interesting, like, I don't know, what is these, like, buns? Ram horns? Like, neat. Has this sort of, like, I don't want to say Spartan armor, but definitely, like, Macedonian Greek type of, you know, outfit with big fur mantle. That's cool. Also got, like, this very, like, swirly kind of cloud thing going on with this sword. I don't know, too much to say. Again, these NPCs tend to be very idiosyncratic, so I wouldn't be surprised if they all have, like, their own very specific backstory that's only, like, been told in the DLC and nowhere else before.
In that forsaken place.
This looks like what we saw here, right? This area here. Or someplace like it. It's hard to say. Let me look at the tops again. No, not you. It's hard to say because we don't see anything like this with all the figures engraved into it in the back, but that may be because it's obscured by fog. This guy, though, looks like he's wearing stone armor. Or maybe like a brass or bronze, like very faded if so. Also has a pot here. Kind of curious what that's all about. What if we actually fight the Greater Will in the Land of Shadow? I don't know if the game would allow us to do that. We already get to fight like the Elden Beast, which is like the closest thing to the Greater Will. I don't know if they'd want to have us face the Greater Will itself like that. Quaylag talked about the sword having the same motif in the guard as in Radahn's swords. Ooh. So you think this could be that's true, now that you mention it. There's the Radahn swords have a similar, like, swirly, like, lion's mane thing going on. So, yeah, this could be a warrior of Radahn that's, like, comes in search of Mikla for some reason. Yeah, that's definitely possible. It would also explain, like, the heroic, you know, Greek stuff, right? Because the Greek hero is such an iconic thing, and Radahn's entire character is wrapped so much in the image of heroism. Yeah, I could see an NPC being like that. Good job on Quaylag's part. That's a really nice detail to notice. Again, more of these. Looks like this is a midday or evening look there. Yeah, sorry, yeah, more like twilight almost. So, yeah, it definitely looks like there's a day-night cycle going on. It's the same. It's the same for sure. The area behind the pot guys. Yeah, there's definitely at least the same, like, ruin stuff. Like, this one here is destroyed, but we see one here. So I would not be surprised if, like, we're just given a very awkward angle so we can't, like, see all the areas to compare for. If not, it tells us that there's going to be multiple areas with these pillars and stuff. And who knows, maybe these, like, lead underground or something. That's why we don't see too much, because it's not above ground here, but it's actually, like, you know, going deep under. And we do see that later in the trailer, right? This is interesting because we have this NPC here on the ground. So I wonder if this is going to be like a box situation where it's like, please, please, oh, you over there, help me, I've fallen and I can't get up. Or like they're like slumbering on the ground, or like we hit them or something. It's like, oh, how could you run me over, good sir? I could see something like that happening. But there's like these stalactite looking things here.
Blood.
Looks like water as well, maybe? Or, no, I don't think there's water here. I think it's just, yeah, it's just flowers. But this looks like this might be in a cave or something. You can see, again, more of these, like, stalagmites, stalactites, whatever they're called, back there. Glowing flowers here that these aren't Trina lilies, are they? Trina lilies in the back. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Are these Trina lilies? The shape definitely reminds me of them, but I don't remember if the color's the same. There's a Twin Blade Knight in the trailer, which is in Malekith's color scheme of gold and black. Perhaps Malekith had a legion of knights. We'll see. Because another thing I think about is that the generic enemies here would presumably be, you know, Mesmer's crew. So I think those knights and soldiers we see may be all, like, Mesmer's guys. Underground map confirmed. I would 100% expect that this DLC is going to have an underground map, because we see too many areas that are clearly underground, and I think that's the best way for them to fit more stuff, because Miyazaki says this area, this map, is going to be bigger, probably bigger than Limgrave, and with more diversity. Now, Limgrave is not very big. And depending on, like, let's go back to, like, the early section. God, we're not even a minute in, chat. We're not even a minute in. Let's assume that this is actually the whole map. This looks to me, just based on appearances, to be maybe 2/3 of Liurnia size. In terms of, like, you know, square landmass. If so, I could see them totally adding many more underground areas in order to further expand that map size. So that way, even though it may not be so big that it's, you know, you're going to be trekking like forever to get from one end of the map to the other, there's going to be a lot of depth there, so that way it's going to feel even bigger than it actually is. Because a big thing about Elden Ring is not just the size of the world map, but also the verticality to it. And just like, everyone remembers the first time they traveled down a well all the way into the deep underground, into, like, you know, the Shifra River, Ainsel River, whatever it was, right? Like, everyone remembers that moment. And I think they want to preserve that feeling as you explore this new map. So even if it's not that big, you're going to find, like, oh, wow, it just keeps going deeper and deeper. And oh my god, there's this cave that takes us even deeper, right? So I feel like we're going to see that, for sure. Yeah, super dense Limgrave, exactly. Yeah, this area, it definitely looks like it's bigger than Limgrave, but it doesn't look like it's so big that it's, like, full Liurnia size, at least on the surface. I think the soldiers in black and gold might be Newman troops. Marika dresses in black and gold trim as well. Ooh, that's an interesting observation. Trina's lilies are white, so it's hard to say since they could be taking on purple from the environmental lighting. Yeah, but isn't purple also associated with sleep to some extent? So possible. Miyazaki is humble, mentioning the size of Elden Ring before release. I bet this DLC is huge. Yeah, I do expect it to be big. I just don't know, I expect it to be so big. And I think if he's using Limgrave as a point of reference, I don't think we're expecting, like, this place to be, you know, super omega, like, oh, this is like Caelid, Liurnia, Limgrave, and Weeping Peninsula combined type of big. We gotta get to the base of your tree somehow again to see what created this tree. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Like, they might want to create an underground area that lets us get to the base of this shadow tree, too. I don't think they would charge $40 for a DLC that's a little larger than Limgrave, so probably very large. Yeah, I expect the verticality to extend the actual size of this place dramatically. I just think on the surface, it's going to probably be like 2/3 of Liurnia size. It's going to be big, it's going to be a huge trek, but I don't think it's going to be, like, so big, like, it's going to be, like, crazy over the moon size. Hope this area is more interconnected cave system that leads to multiple places. That would be neat. I would love if there's a lot of interconnectivity in this underground map as well. Because the problem with the underground areas is they're very disconnected from each other, or you have to use like a cutscene or load screen in order, you know, quote unquote load screen, in order to like go through, go between the different parts. The thing about Limgrave is a point of reference is whether that counts as Weeping Peninsula as part of Limgrave. Miyazaki would not be counting Weeping Peninsula in that, because Weeping Peninsula is considered another big area separate from Limgrave and Caelid and stuff. So when he's talking about like main areas in the map, he's clearly talking about, you know, the actual area called Limgrave. I wonder if Miyazaki will pull a convergence of DS2 and 3 and make the DLC areas past areas in the lands between, which were separated due to time shenanigans or something like that. Again, there is the talk of the physical separation of this place from the actual game map. So, again, there is quite possible that there is a thing where, again, not necessarily timey-wimey shenanigans. Miyazaki's confirmed this is in the past or future. This does take place contemporary with the base game. So it's not like we're going to the past Ulasil style or anything like that. But, big but, that doesn't stop it from showing places from the past. So that's definitely possible there. Back here? No.
Blood must.
Yeah, so these look like another cave system. Now this is the thing Nardi's been waiting for. Looks like we're getting more lore on the Carians in Liurnia. So we have a throne, which I don't think we've seen the model for this used before. Correct me if I'm wrong. Pews, which I'm also not 100% sure if we've seen before, but I do know there are pews in the in certain areas. The same like cages we see in Liurnia. I don't recognize these hanging lamps. Some of this architecture looks familiar to me, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is like copy pasted from that tool set. A lot of destruction on the floors here. So this looks like, you know, old, rundown, abandoned.
Blood of your family.
Now, this figure here. I'll be honest, I would not be surprised if this is supposed to be, like, Ronnie's sister or something. I would 100% not be surprised if we're supposed to believe that this is another child of, like, Radigan and Renala. I could see this being one of the daughters that are theorized to have been died. Or at the very least, one that may have gone missing. And the only reason I say this, because I know a lot of people have looked at the hat and they've compared it to the figure of the sorcerer from, like, the inverted Carian study hall key or whatever it's called. But the thing is, that figure is also used for stuff like the Dectus area to help, like, sort of introduce you. If you were going from Langdell down to Liurnia, you would face these statue figures. And it's clear that it's supposed to just represent a generic sorcerer of Liurnia. So I don't think the hat is as important as people are, like, impressing upon with that figure. I think it's maybe being used to help denote how this person has Liurnia ties. I think what gets me, though, is this stupid-ass collar. I think it's too dumb for this collar to not belong to a royal or some figure of import. Maybe it's just some random Liurnian noble who, like, belongs to the Carians or something, but I can't imagine this just being some random schmuck if they're wearing something this stupid and trying to sit in, like, the middle of this rundown cathedral church area or whatever it is. This might be like the Manicelis Cathedral we saw earlier on that hill, right? Right, so who knows? Oh my god. Load! Load! Oh my god. Oh my god. Load. There we go. So maybe it's like in here somewhere. But I'm not seeing them, I'm not seeing this just being some, like, random NPC. I think it has to be at least someone somewhat more notable than a commoner. I'm thinking the missing of the three sisters. Yeah, exactly. Like, maybe if we have Ronnie, Rena, and maybe this is, like, the third sister. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Seems like a lot of you guys are also on the same thought. Yeah, Nardi's favorite part. I mean, like, for example, we could explore remains of Earth and Peak, which were taken to Dragkeep, for example. Yeah, again, I don't think they're going to do something like that. Because everything we see here, it seems to be ruins which are upright and existing, like, they're built properly within the landmass we see them in, right? Like, when we see ancient civilization ruins, you know, they're like the other ancient civilization ruins, which we see built into, like, cliff sides and stuff. So I don't think we're going to see anything like that, where it's like, okay, just plop this random place here and it's all, like, jumbled and, like, destroyed and stuff. I think a lot of this is going to be, like, it's its own proper ecosystem melded together. I don't think it's going to be, like, Dark Souls 3 at all. But again, that's just my impression on the trailer. Final game could always change the thing. But again, we're basing everything I say here on what we're seeing in the trailer. I have the theory that Renala has sisters, would explain the Carian princesses, so it might be one of them. So you think the idea is that Renala has sisters and her daughters or children would be, like, basically Ronnie's cousins would be these other princesses. That could be an interesting idea to explore. Totally possible. I think, though, with the obsession of Renala with resurrecting and creating her own, like, children with, like, you know, the younglings and stuff, I feel like the idea that she has some dead daughters and that she never truly got over that, and it's like when Radigan left, like, she truly snapped and is trying to restore everything now. I feel like that might work better, but again, I haven't done the deep dive into Renala, so I'm gonna have to keep that possibility in mind. Lazuli glintstones as lamps. Yeah, the color does look a little off from what we typically see, right? Yeah. Almost looks more violet. And then you have, like, yeah, this, like, bright, like, blue violetish kind of lighting here with a nice white core.
Of your fellow.
Oh, you know what I'm noticing now that I'm seeing? So we have the window here, which tells us this place is inside, but it's like it's not like so deep. It's not like deep in a tomb or something like that, right? We can see the outside through a window there. So again, this goes back to my point that this may be the cathedral area we're seeing on the hill. Another thing worth pointing out is the stuff in drapes. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Do we see a lot of these cages draped in the base game? I honestly don't remember. We also see in the corner, which may be a banner or something that's torn or shredded. So that, again, could be very interesting to look at. We explain the three sisters while not having to rely on unknown daughters of Radigan and Renala. Yeah, again, I like the idea. I think I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I like the idea a lot, and it's definitely, I think, possible with what we got. So definitely something worth exploring. All right, so I'm not seeing anything else. Let me see. It's the same shape building as the Mana Cellar. I assume you mean Mana Cellus, I-Man, so... Is it the same? There are the columns here, which are also in that church. This could be the wings of the transept. So we have the columns here. We have these candelabras and stuff. I don't recognize some of these. Their designs look a little unique to me.
Blood of your fellow.
I don't recall seeing something like this with the curves and the curls here. But yeah, this looks like, you're right. These look like wings with transepts. There's just no like doorway here like we see in the Mana Cellus proper. So yeah, this could be these could be like added wings on the side. So yeah, it's definitely has that like cross shape, kind of like the cathedral. Yeah, same structure. I don't think we've seen this chair though either, right? Like this has to be a new asset. Same with these. So I think it's gonna be a mix of stuff. Now this is my favorite shot in the trailer, chat. I'm gonna be real with you. I love this. Now, I'm not sure if this is a poison swamp or not. But what I like looking at here is the glowing, like, yellowish veins here. This has me most curious. There's also these, like, little, like, stumpy figures with, like, glowing heads, quote-unquote. I've seen Acer refer to these as, God, what did he call them? Oh, I forgot, actually. Whoops. But I said they kind of remind me of birds. Could also be like the fingers that the finger creepers have when they're underground. But I'm assuming it's not that in either case. Tongue Eater's home. Back to the damn swamps. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is poison swamp. This water looks too normal. It looks like it's just normal, like, you know, bog water with veins. But who knows? Who knows with Miyazaki? It may look relatively normal, but like be like toxic or something. Give you death blight. Okay, please don't laugh at me, but if that's Selen, after her questline, she managed to enter the Shadowlands and is now a Witch Queen of the Underworld. I just want more Selen content. Yeah, I don't think it's Selen. I think we have Selen's face already in the game, and I don't think they would change it for that. If anything, they would use the same face model because they would want to, you know, build upon it for us. But I don't know. I don't think that's Selen. Or corpses. Okay, yeah, or corpses. Yeah, that's what he said. He thought they may be corpses. See, the reason I don't think they're corpses is because I don't think they have the shape properly of corpses. Like, I could see this being a bird, and it's really hard to see because it's so far away. So I don't know. We could all the options Acer and I put forward could be wrong. I'm totally willing to accept that. But yeah, I don't know if that's any of that stuff. Like, who knows? For all we know, these could be, like weird torches, right? Like, weird tiki torches where, like, this is, like, a wood, and these are all, like, flames that are left in front of the doorway for some reason. Yeah, because it doesn't get any more obvious. And we see typical, like, bayou signs. You know, you see the lily pads. You see those things that you always see in swamps and stuff. I like this building, though, because it reminds me of, like, a chateau. Like, you see, like, a French chateau in the countryside. It feels like it's one of those, but it's been dropped in the middle of, like, this bog. Or it's been the bog has been left to fester, and, like, this place is now, like, fallen into dilapidated ruin. I like it, and it has, like, all the tree stuff growing here. This may be the beneath the shadow tree that people were talking about, and that's why we have all these, like, glowing vein things happening here. I could see that. The water looks like the dirty water near Albanoric village, right? Might be crazy, though. I think that water has, like, a greenish color to it, doesn't? Like, isn't there, like, a ugly, like, nasty look to that water compared to this? I don't think it looks as clear. I could have swore that it was, like, some really nasty, filthy-looking water. Really dank. Looks like the Lords of the Fallen crossover. I don't know about that, but, like, I will say, I just like the overall aesthetic of this place. God, I'm so excited for this DLC. Can't believe it's 4 months away. Yeah, again, like when Miyazaki said this area is going to look more diverse than Limgrave, he's not kidding. Like, these are some very diverse environments we're seeing. Dung Eater Manor! Oh my god. John, you're going to kill me. Dung Eater Manor! Yeah, I'm trying to get closer. Yeah, it's real. These don't look like bodies. Again, maybe they are. Maybe they're like headless bodies and they're just like sitting or something. I don't see it though. But yeah, I'm very curious. This area, if this area disappoints me, it's purely because the trailer makes it look so cool. And let's actually go a little bit back here. Come on, a few frames. There we go. We also get yellow flowers here in the corner. And, like, seemingly more of these flowers over here, or they look a little more orangish or reddish here, so maybe something different. Again, all this could be consistent with the idea that maybe these are, like, parts of the shadow tree, which have come down into the underground or something, and it's, like, spreading its influence or whatever. I don't know, just spitballing. Very cool, though. Again, I like how the light shines through from up here, too. To me, they look very much like vultures. Yeah, I'm thinking they look like birds with, like, you know, white heads or something. But it could just be that's, like, a torch or something. Because it does look like it's more than just, like, bright. It looks like it almost glows to me. The water's so green that, if I recall correctly, some Albanorics near it are covered in green poison. Yes, there's some Albanorics who are also poison-fied that also have, like, a green, like, you know, like, molasses covering them. Could be at the bottom of the Erd tree for sure. Would explain the gold veins. Could be the roots of the tree. Yeah, I'm not sure about veins, but like maybe some of its power or something that has like a vein or root-like appearance. But yeah, for sure. I could totally see this being close to the base or beneath the base of that shadow tree. For sure. Now let's move on. Now this. I hope this isn't the only portrait in the game. Again, I'm not expecting it to be more portraits in the game, but I would really like to see more portraits of all the golden lineage and the demigods in general. For various reasons. One, I want to be proven wrong about my idea about Radagon's skin color. Please, for the love of God, show him with pale skin. Please. I would love to see, like, you know, Melania, Mikola, like, a bunch of portraits of the demigods at various points in their life. Maybe a family portrait of them all as young or whatever at their different ages or whatever, what have you. I would love to see something like that. But given what we're already seeing with this DLC, I'm skeptical. I'm thinking we're going to just see, if we're going to see more portraits than just this, it's going to be portraits of other figures who are part of the history in this DLC. Not people related to the more recent stuff with America, you know, after she establishes her own capital. That's the sense I'm getting from this trailer. I would love to be proven wrong, though. Please prove me wrong. As for the actual figure, we're going to see this guy later, obviously. He looks like he's important. He's sitting down. He's in the chair. He's, you know, old, clearly. But he's got, like, this kind of solemn-looking face to here. And then you got this Velka-looking chick over here. Like, she's got kind of, like, this gypsy, like, diviner-type attire going. Like, curly hair. Like, she's Esmeralda from Hunchback or something. Looks like she's got some fancy jewelry. Could be a wife, consort, maybe dear friend or right-hand woman / assistant. Those are all the ideas that come to my head. I feel like some, maybe sister, even. You notice how she's got this hand on his shoulder here. It's a little hard to see because of how it blends in, but you can see that she does have her hand stretched out here on him. So there's clearly this idea of, like, you know, I'm here to support you type of deal. So the body language is definitely there to tell us that these two are very close. She also has this almost like Mona Lisa, like coy smile to her almost, and there's effort being put in to obscure her eyes, which makes me wonder, like, some people have theorized this could be Marika before she became a god, and that her gold hair is from her becoming a god. That would be an interesting idea. So Reddit said she's got her hand over her womb. That's possible, yeah. It's similar to how women who are pregnant, how they would put their hands over their bellies, especially when the bellies are extended. But she doesn't look like she's pregnant, at least from the angle they're showing. Maybe if we saw like a straight up look at it, it'd be more obvious. So I'm not as sure about that. It's definitely not, this is definitely not, definitely not the America as we knew her, for sure. Hand on belly plus she's preg with Mesmer. Yeah, that would be an easy assumption to make. Like, this would be America, and like Mesmer's actually a bastard child that she had with someone neither Godfrey nor Radigan. Though it wouldn't explain the red hair he has. Though again, the red hair could be a red herring, ironically enough, and we're not supposed to actually connect him to Radigan. It's actually because, like, I don't know, he got experimented on with like the power of flame or something, and it turned his hair as red as the fire giants or something. Because the obvious answer is that the fire giants' hair is red because of their connection to the fell god's flame. So why couldn't the same thing happen to a demigod who's been you know, experimented upon or something, right? So her hood looks like the clothes draped over the towns, and the spiral drape matches the drapes on the Lions Dancers arena. This does not look like a drape. This looks like a typical veil from like something you'd see in like the Middle East or something to me. Like let's go back. This looks like a very plain, unassuming veil drape. I would not compare it to what is seen in this portrait here. Again, maybe that is the intention, but I would not be like, yeah, for sure, based on just looking at these here. Like, there's a very different style and more detail and stuff going on here. Is that a St. Trina thing by that guy's neck? I don't think so, because the idea with St. Trina's is that it's a face that's, like, blindfolded by the hair and stuff, right? This looks like something else, and we might get a better picture of it in the, later in this trailer when we see the guy, you know, impaled, ironically. But yeah, so we have that. Inside a stone building, so this could be in, like, one of the castles here, so, like, this may be a portrait we would see... I don't think it would be here. This seems too commoner. Could be here. Could be maybe over here, or maybe over... Nah, this place looks too, like, white stoned, I think, to be that. Because that looks like a regular, like, dark stoned, castle, right? Yeah, maybe it's just too in shadow. We can't really tell. But this looks like typical stonework to me. So... yeah, I would not expect this. Now, another thing I did point out, is this the same stuff we see in, like, Celia and Ordina? Is this the same assets being used here that are covered in these, like, drape veil things? I hope this guy has something to do with chaos because of the yellow outfit. I mean, it could be. The problem is yellow is so closely associated with the gold and grace and stuff like that. I would not be surprised if it's, you know, completely unrelated. It's Shabriri. I somehow have doubts about that. I think the painting could be in the Swamp Manor. That's true. There could be parts of the Swamp Manor that has a stone stuff like that. Let's go back and check. Yeah, I could totally see, like, stonework on the inside of a place like this. For sure. So it could be something we'll find inside here. Like, this could be, like, this old guy's old home. And it's been left to be forgotten and stuff after Mesmer took over or something. And it's become a swampland, right? I could see something like that happening. Oh, whoopsie. Don't want to make it that big for you guys. Lots of pots, lots of jars. These look like copy-paste of the models we see in, the Fringe Folk Heroes grave and stuff. Now, here's my question. Do we see these archway models in places before? If they improve the open world aspect a lot for the DLC, I can't wait until, From's next open world. Yep, From Software's future's looking very bright, that's for sure. Red herring. Good one, Platy. It's weird how she has black curly hair, but seems to be imitating a blonde curly hair with those hair drapes. Imitation is an interesting idea. Like, is she trying to appear blonde with this? The lighting is definitely giving that out, but I'm not sure if that's just because of how the aura they want to give, like they want to give it like that old-timey photo like look, or if that's like the lighting that they're applying to it. It's gonna be interesting to see when this portrait is gonna be extracted directly from the game file, so we can see like its true texture coloring independent of lighting. That's gonna be neat. It's interesting also because this man definitely looks more like, it's very clear that, like, the highlights are up here, but he's got this very, like, rugged, like, grayish, like, dark face going here. But they make sure that they keep her where she has, like, this, like, porcelain skin, very bright, though. But like I said, hiding the eyes is the interesting bit, I feel. Because it gives her that Velka-like aura. And it makes me wonder if they're going for, like, this is going to be a new character who's going to be very mysterious but important to the lore, or if this is going to be, you know, an existing character who we've met but we're not going to recognize. Kind of looks like Morgoth's face. Morgoth? I don't know. I don't know. This doesn't scream Morgoth to me. Also, Morgoth grew up in the sewers, so that's not going to... I don't think that's going to work. I think it works. Especially with what we see later in this trailer. The pillar tops remind me of the ancient Civ, but way more fanciful than we've ever seen. Yeah, at the very least, it definitely seems retextured, because I don't think I've seen anything like this design on these column tops here. I definitely feel like that's new. Maybe, if I had to take a guess. Yeah, back here. We're going to go back to this overview shot so many times. It could be from this dungeon here, like one of these tower bits, maybe like deeper down or something into the area. I could see it being something like that. Because again, going back to this idea that they're collecting all this sap or whatever, which is dripping from this shadow tree. What would you do with this sap? You'd have to collect it. Where would you collect it in? Maybe jars. So I could totally see something like that happening here, where this is sort of like where they're storing all the sap or whatever that they're collecting. Before, I want to go back here. This something here, these are some type of enemy models or something. It's hard to make out, though, exactly. These could just be, like, dead corpse models, similar to what we've seen in other parts of the game. But yeah, it's really tough to make out, because they just look so, like, they look pitch black in this lighting, even though there's at least a decent amount of light here, so it's hard to say. Now this has me curious, because what you guys may not have noticed, there looks to be like a fan blade here. See? The way it's spinning and stuff. So it looks like it's supposed to be like churning or maybe sucking up like a vacuum the lava? Like there's something going on with this thing. It kind of reminds me of those like concrete mixers. It's a pump. Yeah, you think it's a pump? That's what, like, it feels like something of that nature. And like they have all these hooks and like these industrial like hooks and things to like lift this thing up if necessary and draw it back up. So it feels a lot like it's trying to like collect the lava. Maybe it's trying to filter out the lava, like the lava's coming from somewhere and it's trying to get rid of it. What's interesting is that up until now, we've only seen lava at Gelmir. And again, there's been parallels made with Messmer and like Rykard and like the connections there. Maybe Messmer's flame also creates lava and is doing something similar, and it's like flooding certain sections that they're trying to like, you know, like absorb out or whatever, so it doesn't destabilize the foundations. Because you can see here in the corner how you have all these ruined, you know, stuff here, but at the bottom it looks like it's being scorched black. You can see it on the other side here, right? These subtle scorch marks where the lava line is. So maybe something like that. I just noticed. Yeah, like, yeah, it has that like factory look to it, John. Exactly. The engravings on the far wall remind me of designs on the Godslayer Greatsword too. Ooh, interesting. Might want to look into that for sure. Could be cool if there are some ruins dedicated to the Glowmite Queen. Or that Messmer has similar type of stuff going on here. But yeah, I don't recognize any of these designs by themselves, so that they may be new. And that would be interesting, because it could add into the idea that this all connects to Messmer and his posse. Even in the lands between, the Erdtree has the thinned out section that leads to the cavity with the stone platform. Like I'm gonna have to look in more. Archimedes screw. Ooh, Ooh, yeah, it's a pump. Oh. Yeah, that's true. It could be inspired by that. Why would they have pots in the Land of Shadow? Are there minor Erd trees? The pots are generally there to collect the dead flesh, which is then, offered up to the minor Erd trees for burial and stuff. That's how they're generally used. The pots in this case would be serving a different function. Now, are we going to see the Potman enemies? Maybe. Could be possible. But, again, we're going to just have to see in the DLC ourselves. But yeah, the pots themselves are not, that special in and of themselves. Now, it looks like it's the same pot model. I don't know if it's the same pot top, because the pot top has, the tree design and stuff. I don't know if they're going to keep that. But granted, there is the shadow tree, so they could justify it for sure. Loki! In the boss room of Messmer, in the center of it, the modern Golden Order sigil can be seen. Is that so? We'll get to it then. We are still only a minute into this trailer. Oh my god, chat. There's 2.5 more minutes to go. Anyway, so we get, prisoner guy going up this pump thing. This might be a traversal thing where the game expects us to, jump up and go through, but we have to survive through the lava first before we can do that. This is not obviously visible to me, but we see the trees here that we saw on this shot here. So I'm assuming it's somewhere down here. Maybe it's this in the corner? I don't know about that, but probably somewhere in this section of the map, right? What's interesting, though, is we talked about how there's not a lot of conifers going on in this area by comparison to this area. We do see more of them in this shot, though. See? For the entryway. We also, again, see more of these trees. Oh, you know what? These are the pillars where we see that guy. Okay, so we're going to see more of them with this guy, right? Because it's the same thing. At the very least, it's an area like what we see with this guy. Yeah.
Blood must place.
We see conifers here, too. Yeah. So this might be the entrance to this place. Yeah, same destroyed pillar here. So, okay, yeah. So the guy is, somewhere here, and it's this area. And this is the entryway to it. Okay. This architecture reminds me of Miquella's Haley Tree. Am I crazy? Am I crazy for thinking that? I feel like I've seen some of these assets, at least, some of the, towering spires and stuff in the Haley Tree area. Am I nuts? Yeah, this is the place with the pot guy, yeah. There's so much lore for 3 minutes. Imagine actually playing the game. Yeah, believe me, I'm going to be taking screenshots of every square inch of this place, too. Yeah, like Far Missoula, we're seeing, this place gate, crumble at the top, and it's got, this darkness. Oh, you know what? I see these root things. Let's compare this corner here to over here. Where is it? There we go. Here. Okay, yeah. This looks like the same thing. Do we see a similar cliffside type deal here? Yeah, close enough. There's a similar enough thing going on here. Looks like more ancient civilization ruins in the background, by the way. So yeah, I think this is probably going to be on the northwestern end of the edge of the map. So that, again, gives us the idea that this map is about pretty much what you see is what we're going to get on the surface, right? Right? So this is telling us that this is where the edge of the map is. So it's going to be go all the way here, all the way around. Yep, so this looks like it's that area here. And like I said before, this might be the place legitimately with Deathblight. I could totally see that being the case. It seems that we enter this place from below ground, maybe. Maybe, but you have to keep in mind that we're on a high up cliff in this shot, and there's a lot of stuff lower down in this, gorge area, right? So it's quite possible there's, a route, behind this cliffway with all these roots that'll take us around to there. But yeah, we could go through, overpasses or caves or something before coming out to reach here. Because what we see is just, we can't see the full area, so it just tells us that there's going to be a cliff looming overhead for this entire section. We don't know, like, if it, like, goes along the cliff, if there's, like, more stuff hidden there. It's not sure. Again, this could also be the cutoff point where, like, the conifers are going to extend from the fields and stuff all the way up until this point, and then all this stuff that's higher ground and stuff is free of the conifers, because, again, wind and stuff typically heads downslope, not upslope, so these could be, like, their own different, you know, these could be, like, isolated as a result. We do see more of the conifers back here, though, so that's, again, very interesting to point out. And again, we see all these, like, dark black roots that really remind me of Deathblight. Again, it could also be tied to the tree, because we have the shadow tree right here, like, looming in the corner. Like, it's like, I'm gonna get ya, I'm gonna get ya. So, could be something like that. Again, it's very interesting how you can clearly see the delineation. Bright clearly should be highlighted and stuff, lights there, but then black, it's corrupted to the core. It's dark, it's shadowy. It almost looks like it's fading into darkness, right? You can see that clear cut off with, like, this dome structure here. So I find that very interesting. Is it the sea on the left? If so, the tree on the right may suggest this land should be located south of Altus, where water currently is. That's true, but we also have to keep in mind with all the associations between, like, the spirit world, the ocean, the sky, the cosmos, all that stuff. It could just be this is a generic sea that extends infinitely into the horizon, and we're not supposed to pay attention to, like, the ocean part of this. We just should be paying attention to the actual landmass aspects, or the lakes and stuff that are on those land masses. So I'm not as sold on the idea that, oh, this is ocean. It could also be fog, though. It's not 100% clear that this is ocean. It may just be that this is like an endless fog that's going to extend out instead, and we're just going to see, like, no clear signs of water anywhere. So I could see it going either way. Shadow Blight. Reminds me of Mount Saint Michel with a bit of Gondor. The brown stonework might be reminding you of Elphael. Yeah, it's definitely the stonework is definitely giving me those vibes. But I feel like I've seen spires like this at Elphael as well, which is why I ask. All right, so I don't think we get enough looks at inside this place.
You'll never say.
Let me go back a little bit again. Oh my god, there's so many frames of just this guy. Yeah, we see the drapes and stuff. I don't see anything else in this background that's of note. Again, this looks like this might be more ruins and stuff, but again, I assume we go through this dungeon and it's going to take us to this upper section and things. Who knows, maybe it's even mandatory to get to the main boss area by the shadow tree. I guess we'll see. Yeah. Alright, moving on. And then we have the Wicker Man. Interesting, in the background here, we see the spiked area and a giant pillar. I think this is the same pillar we see at the trees over here, pillars here, and then the spike stuff. We see that with this guy here, right? But we don't see a pillar anywhere in sight, so it's hard to say. Like, maybe he's in the pillar area and it's, like, behind the camera. But, like, it is interesting to note that this is it looks like it's on the conifer section, too, so it is worth pointing that out. We can also see the bodies that have been contained and caged inside of this Wicker Man thing. So this looks like a giant, possibly metal cage. Has this twisting helix look. Again, I would normally associate this with Mikola, but now that we have Mesmer and seen seen the same imagery used with him, this may be this may all be indicating all the ruins and stuff that have this helix in the DLC at least are all connected to him instead. But again, we can see, like, the terrified, horrified faces of these charred bodies inside, right? And they're, like, the ones closer to the center on fire and stuff. And you can see, like, the embers around. So all of this is pretty consistent. We also see, like, these horn-like structures on this face, which kind of are reminiscent of a sun. You see a pillar at the cover art? Yeah, exactly. Maybe this is the Sea of Fog the narrator talks about so much? No, because the Sea of Fog is supposed to be in the, lands between. So, like, that's surrounding it. So, like, it's clearly referring to the foggy sea we see around the game. So the question would then be if the fog is anything special and affects, like, you know, like time and space or whatever, right? So, but that's a separate discussion. There's the head of a giant on his butt. Oh, is there? It's on the Celebrant skull weapon. Oh, the helix is a motif literally everywhere in the game, Loki. It's on the Celebrant Skull weapon. Okay. Yeah, but we see the helix. Yeah, we do see the helix a lot in a lot of places. But I'm just talking about, like, in terms of, like, we see it prominently with Mikola, and we're seeing it now prominently here. So maybe there's a specific connection there. But yeah, you're right. It could just be, like, maybe demigods in general or something. Anything else worth pointing out here besides the tree? If I had to guess, then probably somewhere on this right side off screen. Like, we can't see it, but it's probably somewhere on this, like, plateau area with the column and stuff. But again, it's really hard to tell from where we're at right now. Yeah, we got that. Yeah, so there's no war mentioned. There is the term for losers or the defeated or something like that, which typically gets used in, like, warfare context and stuff, so I'm fine with just that. Yeah, okay, we're definitely on the right side, right? Because we have some of the pillars here, which we saw. We see this stuff here. We see the tree over here, with the big castle thing here. So yeah, this all... Yeah, we don't see the pillars. Oh, these, actually, yeah, we have pillars here. Because we see the castle stuff here. We also see, like, these root structures down here, which are similar to the ones we see over here. I didn't notice those before. That's cool. We don't really see the spike stuff, but it feels like it should be prominent then if this is... It's not this. It's definitely this. So the pillars are definitely this here. So it should be something around here. Maybe it's just the angle. Maybe it'd be more prominent if we were looking else, but it looks like it should be somewhere around here. Right? I think it's the other way around, and Rykard took inspiration from Mesmer. Could be possible. We'll have to see again what the lore of Mesmer is first, but... also, these same root... we have a similar, like, root-like structure coming out here. I think it's clearly different from these horn things, but just worth noting. So this is going to burn that field. I can't wait to see that effect, like with dragons. Honestly, I think this enemy might be more interesting to fight than a dragon. Let's see. Yeah, it got like that curl. It really does seem to be evoking a sun image, which is not surprising. We've seen sun and flame and gold associated closely together, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a weapon Mesmer uses for all those he oppresses or something. Now, the interview, I think it's IGN. Let me bring this up. Yeah, for the IGN interview, it's mentioned that this Wicker Man thing is a weapon that was long ago utilized in the realm of Shadow. It's so horrible, and it throws people in a cage and burns them, right? So we're not getting too much lore on that. Now this thing, as the interview in the IGN at IGN says, the man-eating worm. Now Miyazaki says it's a spoiler that has a deeper relation to the more arcane parts of the DLC. Now again, this term for arcane or mysterious is the same term that it's the same kanji being used for the arcane / occult in the main game. So the arcane stat, the stuff that scales with arcane stat called the occult. This is all referring to the same terminology that means the secrets of God. So this is something deeply connected to some god secrets. We don't know who or what, but it has to deal with, you know, that sort of like mysteries of the universe type of deal, like really like deep in the weeds. So Miyazaki's definitely trying to avoid actually talking about the lore for these guy and what it has to say about the deeper lore for the universe in this game, for sure. I think he's saying there's red hair on the fire thing's waist near where the legs connect. Ah, I see. Because there's like the fur thing, right? Yeah, there's like these tufts of... Oh, I see, and there's like a face with the fur. Yeah, I see what's being said now.
The Saints. They just happen to be on the losing side of a...
Yeah, so there's like these like faces with red beards and stuff. Yeah, you can see it clearly here. That's interesting. I don't know if those are actual faces, though. That kind of looks like it's metal, to be honest. And I feel like if it was an actual face, it would be burnt charcoal and stuff. But this seems more like a decoration. This looks like a giant basket with, like, arms, quote-unquote, right? And they dump them all in the basket area, and they, like, fill it up to the brim, and then they set it on fire. But yeah, maybe it takes inspiration from fire giants, for sure. A third type of Alpinorc, Shimpi? Yes, exactly, Scalisi. Same thing. So we're talking about this same thing as Bloodborne, same thing as Elden Ring, this idea of the arcane, the mysteries, the divine mysteries, however you want to put it, but the secrets of God. Looks the same as the decorative face up top. Yeah, so I agree. I don't think this is like an actual giant's face. But yeah, at the limbs near its crotch, it's got these little like red bearded things. That's cool. But yeah, so this worm thing, it's deeply connected to the lore somehow. It may be in like a minor way in the end still, but like it has to do with some of the more important aspects of the lore, which is all the stuff related to the arcane. We got this moon in the background, which again, it's interesting on whether this is going to be an actual moon or like a false moon or something, because we don't really see stars in this night sky either. So would be interesting if there's like the presence of a Karian princess who is also has the support of a moon, maybe a new moon, you never know. And then this part, the section everyone's waiting for, the frickin' lion dancer. Now, again, I talked about this on Acer's podcast. This is clear. The way that Miyazaki and the interviewer at, I think, Famitsu talk about this, they call it the lion dancer. This is in reference to a traditional dance where you actually, you know, like cosplay as a lion, and you'll often have like multiple people like in the lion getup too, and they're like, you know, in a string, and they do this complicated dance where they, you know, run around and stuff, usually for things like, you know, Chinese New Year or something like that. So this is definitely something with a deep culture in Japan that I can definitely see them taking inspiration for here. And it's clear we see the same thing. There's clearly people underneath the head. And this is seemingly all to represent a lion with horns. Now, we've seen lions with horns. That is not an uncommon sight in related to Altus and Leyndell specifically, with the lions that are currently enslaved by them, right? And they're used as guardians for places. We've also, of course, long been theorized and established that Sorosh was on the plateau helping like the farm colonists and stuff at the fortified manor before Godfrey came in and took over. So this is all very consistent. Now, when Miyazaki talks about this in the interview, he describes it as a culture, naturally a culture that existed before the Erd Tree. Naturally there's a, so again, this is after talked about the whole idea, like, you know, America becomes a god, Erd Tree is born, all that stuff. Naturally, there's a culture that existed before the Erd Tree, and that lion dancer is a character originating from that culture. It's a completely different culture from anything we've seen in the main story. So this is going to be very interesting to see, because again, we haven't seen anything like this. Again, we only see like remnants of something similar with the fortified manor and stuff. So this could be Sun Capital stuff. This could be something else. So again, I'm very curious how this is going to be handled. Looks like the Omen Curse. Yeah, the horns that are cut off from the lions in the base game look similar to what the Omen have. So yeah, similar horn deal. Pretty sure lion dance is Chinese. Not sure about its influence or importance in Japan. I think it's also in Japan, because I've seen similar stuff in like pictures and things. But again, I'm no history expert on this aspect, so feel free to look into it on my behalf. I'm really hoping Godric plays a role in the happenings here. I don't know if Godric's gonna be involved. Maybe in like some subtle ways. Maybe they'll have like a follower of Godric or something here and drop items related to it. Talk about like how much Godric was inspired of the old. Maybe he even looked Pooh before the Erd Tree was even here or something for like the Sorosh golden lineage stuff. Maybe. They also use Yell lightning breaths and stuff. Yeah, like all of this. If you guys have read my Erd Tree's beginning, if you've read my Altus Unification War, this part of the trailer is pretty much like. This is the type of stuff you'd expect for everything I talk about in those analyses. So like this stuff is 100% like zero surprise. Like this is nothing new to me. Like I'm like, yeah, you know, this makes sense. They would have some sort of like traditional dance where like a bunch of people get around in like a horn lion costume to celebrate like the lions that are you know, involved in their culture here. We also see some new statues here. We also have this giant pillar. I don't know if this is ancient civilization stuff. I see in the corner here possibly the tree. The Shadow Tree. So this may be like really close to the base of the Shadow Tree, and this is going to be like a really late game major boss or something. I could totally see that. We also see what looks to be drapes tied up here in the helix formation. So yeah, again, more helix stuff. Maybe the idea is they're going to try to tie the helix thing into even being part of this pre-Erd Tree culture then. That'd be cool. The horns on this line look much more like the Omen horns than the horns on the base game lines. Well, the base game lines are cut off, and I think there is a similar like line thing going on there, but I have to double check. Would a lion head with golden hair be related to the golden lineage? It's just a very iconic motif for it to not be related at all to this boss. Again, the point being is that the lions and Sarash come from before Godfrey. Godfrey becomes Elden Lord and Marika becomes God. They were already present and part of a different cultures which predate Marika and Godfrey. Godfrey's reign over the land, I should say. So, yeah, the idea like, oh, you see a golden-haired lion, it would have to be golden lineage. Like, no, because the symbol of Sarash and the beast crest at the fortified manor predates Godfrey and the golden lineage. It gets adopted afterwards when Sarash ends up becoming subservient to Godfrey as his chancellor. So let's see, anything else you guys got? There seems to be antlers growing in the back too on top of that gold plate. Yeah, you see like these like antler like things. It's hard to say if this is supposed to be like part of the like the helmet thing they've got going here, like the headdress. But yeah, similar thing going on here. I'm excited to see the full lore for this. Because look, you also may notice there's several sets of teeth, which again is very similar in terms of the concept of the fangs, if you recall, that we also get from those Lion Guardians, right? Like the idea of like the crucible and like crowding out with more teeth and stuff. So like there's a lot here that I'm really liking. You can also subtly see the hands which are holding this face. See right here? So you can see the hands there. You got these like glowing like greenish eyes. You got the someone's legs here, more legs here. So like you can kind of definitely see there's a lot of work. I can only imagine what the animations for this must have been like. This feels like it's as complicated as Godric to work with all his arms. Yeah, and then this section, you know, so let's look at this. All right, let's get to the next frame. Alrighty, now. How are we gonna get there? Come on. Oh my god, how long are you gonna turn your head? There we go. Keep going. Yep, okay, there we go. Now, this is our best look at the backgrounds here. Someone with a hand here and raising another hand. Looks like they're wearing a hood. Hands potentially clasped or holding a book. Helix symbol with potentially a flower at the top. More drapery stuff. This looks like an offering altar. Lion statues arranged here. Looks like fashioned in bronze or gold. More drapes and things. Potentially engravings on the wall behind the drapes where they're set up. Again, these like yellow drapes that are tied in the helix formation. Plant stuff hanging up here. Yeah, a lot of neat little details. We also have the flower, like a whole string of flower imagery here. Again, now the flower imagery in the existing game is mainly used in Far Missoula and in Marika's Kingdom. And it seems to be noting the continuation of Elden Ring culture that existed in both Far Missoula and then seems to have been subsequently adopted in Marika's Kingdom because they of the sharing. But it would be interesting if this is supposed to act as the connecting piece. Like this was used in this civilization and then Marika just sort of like completely stole it from here after destroying this. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being like Sun Capital stuff, but we'll see. Sven, very cool design. Yeah, I like the design of this boss in this entire area. I can't. This is definitely going to be. I foresee this. If the chateau disappoints me, I see this being like making up for it. Because I think this stuff is going to just be super cool to learn about. The two whole sets of jaws only ever appear elsewhere with the magma worms. Yeah, we do see something similar with them. This boss legacy dungeon may be the same we see with the pot NPC in Crumbling. You think it's actually this here? Let's go back. I'm trying to see if there's any like super notable landmarks. Maybe it's in this section here. Because the problem is we don't see any of the shadow corruption, and I think any of the shots here. And like obviously if we go in through the front door or something, there'd have to be this entire opening section. Maybe over here in this corner. I don't know. It's a bit hard for me to place where exactly this would be relative to everything else. Let's go back to this early section. So you got the red here. A lot of red. Got the tree things in here in the background. Yeah, I don't... This is so open, too. So you don't really get, like... This looks so much more claustrophobic. Like, there's, like, so much packed here. It's hard for me to see, like, us getting, like, a lot of good visual of the background in this dungeon. Wait, again, this is why we go frame by frame. Yeah, so let's look at up here. Again, we see all the people underneath here. You got the legs, arms. Someone's holding the head here. All right, we get another clearish image. Okay, this we see as like a round towering, and this looks also to be towering. So it does look like there's at least some stuff to help with the idea that there's some layers here. And look, we do see the black root-like things here, right? So then, in that case, it could be someplace in the back around here, then. That would make sense, then. God, this is so cool! You're really loving this. Oh, white cloths with gold trim on the stairs are interesting. Curious why they're only on the ground so far. Again, without the full context of the entire map arena or even the entire map in the game, because they could reuse that asset elsewhere, it's hard to say if there's anything particularly special about that choice. Also, Lion's Mane is braided, so more helix is there. Oh my god, you're right. But yeah, it might be like somewhere back here. And the statues all around are very similar. Yeah, we do see statues and stuff engraved on the walls with the entrance. I just can't tell if they're the same statues. They look like they're different to me, but it's so hard to tell in this trailer. Yeah, so we also get a better look at the people on the engravings here. Now, this I could see being copy-pasted from what we saw at the entranceway over here in this corner. This, not so much. This, very interesting again. Another possibility we have to consider is this is separate from the Sun Capital. This could be another culture which existed on the plateau, which is part of that physical land that was physically separated from the lands between and brought into this realm. That's another possibility to consider. It could be some place that was maybe where the Erd Tree is right now, or next to Langdell, or something like that. Yeah, that's something we also have to consider. So yeah, that's interesting in its own right. Got the roots down here. So we have bright roots here, but we have dark corrupted black ones up here. So I'm starting to wonder now if this is like the result of actually like a corruption, or if these are actually real roots and they've just turned black because of the corruption independently. And there's actually like more roots that we'll see in the lower area. The problem is it's not obvious. We don't see the bright white roots, but again, maybe they blend in really well with the background here, or they're like hidden behind the walls or something. So let's see. Stay hydrated, chat. I'm trying to see if we can find this pillar here too. Can we mark this pillar? It may be here. We see something like this here. So it could be something similar is over here at another angle or something. Depending on how high this is. Because the problem is it's supposed to be tall and above ground type of thing. So again, very hard to tell here. And we have the better look at the flower imagery here. Now, again, this is slightly different from what we see in the base game. But again, that could just be because they want to pretty stuff up for this and they didn't want to reuse assets here. Because this is supposed to be, like, mostly a new area. Multi-sun capitals, like multiple eternal cities. Could be. We haven't seen much in ways of sun imagery here, though. Or any of the iconic structures we see with the Sun Realm shield. So it's quite possible this is just a separate place entirely. And the sun capital is something different. Why the greenish eyes, though? I don't think we've seen anything similar before. That is hard to say, I think, without us getting the full lore context. It could just be an artistic choice. Especially, like, when you see it here. It contrasts a lot with the blonde and the reds and stuff. You have this green that complements it, but really sort of stands out. So it could be something like that. Yeah, the eyes seem to still be green, too, during the fight, so... Again, you can really see how they're putting their all into this. Like, you see, like, of course, the hands, how they twist and open the mouth of this thing, right? But, like, the feet are what really impress me. Because these guys are, like, flopping like a fish. Like, trying to, like, jump around and go after us here. Also, who's making the noise that this thing is doing? Like, it's like the guy holding the head, like, going... like, for the whole fight? Is that, like, that guy's role? He's got to sound like a lion? A lion who's had, like, its balls squeezed? Like, look at this with the legs here. You also see clipping with the cloth. Funny. But, like, yeah, the guy's, like, just flopping around here on this side. Like, very impressive. Okay, another look at the high top area, which is really good for us. This looks like the shadow tree in the background, so this makes it even harder to decide where this would be if it's that dungeon we were looking at earlier. Another possibility, if we look back here again, is somewhere over here. Or maybe around here or something. And it could not be here, but something like this. Or maybe even somewhere over here behind where the player model's blocking. And food for thought. Yeah, so there's definitely a staircase or something here, and we have, like, these pillars here. This looks like the pillaring spires, though, we saw in that other dungeon, so I could totally see that. Let me do a quick look here. Yeah, this looks reminiscent of that, though. I feel like that really, really helps strengthen the case. And this could end up just being like the corruption stuff we see with the trees, and it's not having anything to do with the shadow tree. The feet are what really impressed me, lol. Very Miyazaki. Yep. Very Miyazaki. I suspect it's a creature that resembles a dancing lion. You think it's actually a creature? It looks like a bunch of people that's, it looks like a bunch of people that are just trying to imitate a lion. I don't think it's a separate creature, because those feet look too human to me. And you see the hands and stuff holding the mouth and stuff, so it doesn't look like a creature. There are triangular arches atop the end structures of this lion dance arena. Might match the Sun Capital a little bit. That is true. That is true. Again, it depends on how much they want to deviate from the original art on the Sun Realm Shield. Now, they could. They have a lot of creative liberties they could take, and they could, like, ignore the Sun Realm Shield entirely, and, like, there could be some lore thing that, like, basically all but says this is the same thing as the Sun Realm Shield, and we're just gonna have to accept that, even though the designs don't look exact. That's always possible. There's nothing stopping Miyazaki and From Software from, like, not trying to be too consistent with, like, the basic design of what we see there, especially considering, like, it's a simplified design. You could easily argue that it's made to be more complicated and stuff. That's totally possible. It's just really hard because, like, there's nothing where it's, like, super clear cut with the shield where make me go, okay, yeah, this is 100% the Sun Capital. That's why I'm saying things which could potentially contradict my analysis by saying, like, no, it could be another place, it could be additional place, it could be separate from the Sun Capital. Because, again, we just don't know. I don't see, like, I don't see, like, the hook, line, and sinker here. Like a grafted creation. Yeah, maybe grafted. I could see that, but I don't know. The way that this is operating and stuff, it doesn't feel like it's one entity. It feels like a bunch of people working together. There's a frame where you can see the dancer on top of each other. Yeah, there's one who's standing on top of another guy. Is it actually in this section? Oh, sorry guys, I full screened it by accident. So we got, like, this smoke thing coming out of him. There are these hands that look to be hanging here. So I don't know if that's, like, intentional or not. But then we, like, go here, and here, and here. So we're just going to keep on going. Oh, God, chat, we're only halfway through this thing, and we're still going. This stream will never end. Look at all that. It definitely looks like there's a hand or a foot or something that's just hanging limply there, right? I wonder if like the actual lion thing comes to life on its own or something. That would be that'd be freaky. All right, so it doesn't look like we see anybody standing here. Oh, wait. Never mind. What I thought was hanging limply might actually be the guy standing on top of each other. Let me actually go back. Come on. Come on. Yeah, this might actually be the guy standing on top of the other guy here. It's not actually like a arm or foot hanging limply. It's actually a dude. Yeah. You can actually see, okay, what's happening here is this foot is coming out of clipping. So it might be because the animation happened so fast, they didn't try to like keep it all synced up or whatever. But this might actually just be the foot of a guy who's supposed to be standing on top of this other guy here. Up. Little further, there's a very good shot. Yeah, so we're gonna go a little further with this now. Yeah, so here we can see it. This is where we can see it. Yeah, this guy. Yeah, this is clearly a guy standing. This is a guy with his arms like raised up and stuff. So yeah, and you can see the guy here. So these are clearly just a bunch of people who are cooperating together to act as this boss. Does this weird smoke thing, which I don't understand what the... Now, is that like magic that we see? No, that's the background here. Yeah, okay, that's just the background. It's not just spewing smoke. Yeah, they're spinning around. And this feels very reminiscent of those lion dances that I mentioned earlier. I could definitely see this being like this is obviously the direct inspiration they took. So yeah, you see how this guy is stepping as he spins to help like give him the pivot, and he's holding up his arms, whatever, to help so that his arms aren't like, you know, distracting from the performance or something like that. So yeah, very cool. Now we have the lightning here. This I actually want a closer look at. Where is that lightning? That looks like it's coming inside the mouth of the creature. Yeah. It's going into the mouth, its jaws. Almost like it's catching the bolt. Interesting. Then it flashes really bright after he catches it. This guy's leaping in midair. You can see the feet sort of like tucked in, as if like he just did a leap. A quick little hop. Now the flash is disappearing. As we look closer here. Keep on looking closer, closer, closer. Again, it's getting more crazy. I'm gonna extend this a little. Okay, because we're not seeing anything interesting. But this is interesting. So it looks like he's twirling it in his jaw then, right? Let me see that motion in full. Huh. And then it seems to transform after the twirl. As if it struck him instead? Huh. Huh. Yeah, it's really... I'm really not sure what I'm looking at here. It doesn't look like it's attack. If this is not a sun cap, if not sun capital, this could also be a farm colony. Yes, it's quite possible this is the farm colony connected to the fortified manor, which would be adjacent to the sun capital. That's another possibility. Do you think he could be connected to the Beastman by any chance? You mean the boss, Morons Morian? Also, welcome to the chat. I don't recognize you. Could it be connected to the Beastman by any chance? I've talked again about the idea of Sorosh and the Lion Guardians and stuff all existing alongside the Farum colonists and collaborating with the local tribes on the plateau to establish the Farum colonies and stuff and their various individual civilizations. So yes, I could see this relating to the Beastmen in that sense, because the Farum colonists, again, this is my term for the banished knights who left Farum Azula and established their own settlements on the plateau. So in that sense, yes, I think it could be connected to the Beastmen, because you have the Siraj and his lions. I don't know if actual Beastmen, though, were present in these colonies at all. That's the part where it's like, okay, that's a little ambiguous. In my opinion, it's definitely the Sun Capital, the place we're about to explore. Again, I'm totally okay with that. I just don't want to. I don't want to say like, oh yeah, guys, my theory is definitely correct. This is definitely the Sun Capital when I'm not seeing it. Again, guys, I know, I hate being like this, but I'm the type of person where even if I want to be wrong, I try to go with what the evidence tells me. And what it's telling me is that this is not like an open and shut case quite yet. When we get to the base game and we get to explore the area in full, maybe we'll be able to find it where it's like, okay, if I look at it from this angle, it's definitely the Sun Capital and the Sun Realm Shield. But until that point, I'm not gonna be like telling you guys for sure, because I still think there's room for error. Interesting how this is Golden Lightning, with the Ancient Dragons couldn't figure out how to use it on their own. Even Placky could only use it like a decoration in his first phase. Again, they use, like, the primordial lightning stuff. So, like, I'm not surprised we don't see golden lightning with the dragons. But we do see lightning with the Farum colonists, like, O'Neill. So, I am not surprised. I'm not surprised we see it here. I would assume that normal golden lightning would be used. Especially with how much the plateau emphasizes the color gold. I could see that having a huge influence in them not going beyond that into red. According to an interview, Loki, you have to kill Radon too to enter the DLC. Oh, is that so? I don't recall seeing that in any of the interviews I read. Is it the Famitsu or IGN one? Because I did not recall reading that. If it's a separate one, that'd be good to know. Especially considering Radon's whole sealing the stars, which means that Radon may be sealing the spirit world as well. That would make sense in that context. Also, Loki, crack theory I have. What if Mesmer is called the Impaler because he impaled Marika with the big red sticks and thanks to that got banished to Shadowland due to attempted Patrisless Matricide? The problem I have with that is that isn't the whole point of Marika and Radigan supposed to be that they're being, like, crucified as punishment for breaking the Elden Ring? Like, isn't that supposed to be, like, the core implication of why they're up inside the Erd Tree and all that and all this? So I don't feel like Mesmer really fits into that narrative. Like, the whole idea with Mesmer being called the Impaler is what I would assume... Do we see it here? I'd assume it's because he impales people. Like, we see this entire, like, battlefield, like, all these fires and stuff. This looks like, you know, like, a bunch of fighting and things happening in, like, a bloody, fiery battlefield. And then you have all these spears. This feels like it's quite ripe to start impaling people on. Call me crazy. But I feel like that's why he'd be called the Impaling Lord. More so than, oh, he happened to impale Marika and Radigan after they shattered the Elden Ring, which was a sin of the... sin against the Erd Tree, and now he's stuck here, or he's gone here on his own terms, or whatever. I don't know. It definitely feels like a crack theory to me. I don't buy it. I'm not buying what you're selling. Yeah, I don't know what's... Okay. The only thing I can think of is this guy is about to do an attack, but he gets struck by another lightning bolt during the attack, and it interrupts it. And they're trying to tell us how, during this phase in the fight, the boss can also be affected by the lightning strikes. That's the only thing I can think of, that this attack is actually being interrupted because he's about to do something fancy and cool, but he gets stopped. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I think I'm right. Because look, I think this is separate. Yeah, I'm right. You can see that, because look, he's turning his head, he's about to do it, but then it dissipates when another lightning bolt from the sky comes down. From here. Yeah, see? This is the point where it is, but then you see, while he's doing it, boop, you start seeing, it's coming from the sky. Boop. It's coming down. It makes impact, and then the thing dissipates, and it strikes them. Okay, and that's why we have that flash here, because it hits them and boom. Okay. That makes so much more sense to me now, because I was like, I don't know what's going on here otherwise. Boom! Yeah, and you can clearly see it comes from a completely, like, separate angle. That's cool. That's cool. So the guy's like trying to do his own thing, but he gets interrupted. He gets cucked by his own lightning. Understandable. The stick always got me confused, lol. Why have a stick at all? The tweet says Famitsu. I'm gonna have to reread Famitsu then, because I don't recall Radon getting mentioned. See if I can quickly, actually type that up. Is this Famitsu? Yeah, this is Famitsu. Okay, Mesmer, Radon, da-da-da, DLC, character, America's past, da-da-da. There's Mesmer, da-da. Morgott. He's also on the same level as Radon. Okay, let's look at all the Radon references now. Also, the DLC, the Blood Lular Moog and Star Crusher Radon necessary. Okay, so yeah, you are gonna have to beat both Moog and Radon in order to access the DLC this time. Yeah, that is what is actually being said here. I actually missed that detail, so that's cool to know. Thanks so much to you guys for pointing that out to me. Yeah, I can auto-search Radon in here. So yeah, we have, yeah. So, yeah, we're gonna have to defeat both Radon and Moog for this. That's going to be very interesting then, because it's going to more or less confirm that Radon is going to be a major player with his connection between the stars and the spirit world. And that already adds to the point about the connection between the stars, the cosmos, and the spirit world and stuff. So yeah, and dreams as an extension. So like, yeah, okay, that's really good. That's really good detail to add. Anyway, continuing. Important part, as we know. So, is this a red snake? I think it is, right? Because I think the statue also depicts as red. We also have, like, all these, like, twisting, like, snake-like imagery here. We got, like, this guy, let's be honest, this guy is the most twinkiest of twink of all the demigods. Also, is that, like, a...
Mother.
Is that a burn on his palm? I think his palms might be burned. That's cool.
What's...
The Rodon Festival might be used as a way to introduce all the new NPCs. That's true. They could add more spirits NPCs to the Radon fight / the introduction that could introduce some of these guys. That's definitely possible. Could also talk to them to get told what to do with Mikola. I don't know if it'd be appropriate in that setting to be like, yes, you should go there and go see Mikola. Or so. I don't know about that. But, like, yeah, I could definitely see them adding them to the arena to kind of, like, tell us that, like, they're on the path to try to find Mikola or something like that. The stars need to move to be able to enter. Yeah, exactly the point. So maybe the Helix imagery is actually Caduceus imagery. Yes, that is one of the ideas, is that if this Helix, at least in the context of the DLC, is related to Mesmer, that presumably it ties into the Caduceus stuff that is happening here. So, yeah, we have this whole... He generates a shadow... Let me get a look at those palms.
Mother.
So we could definitely see, like, there's, like, this black core here. It looks like it's burned almost. It's hard to say. Also, the textures on his hands look really good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually very impressed considering From Software. This is a lot of detail they didn't have to do. They could, like, just make it, like, one, flat texture or something. But they're really trying here. That's cool. So he gets out of his throne. I don't know if this dialogue is exactly what he says during this point in the video. Like I said, in Acer's stream, I could easily see this being a line he says while he's sitting in the throne, and then he gets up and he's going to say something else, but we'll have to see. There's this dark, shadowy stuff. His hands definitely look like they're kind of singed with, like, ash or something, which, again, makes sense if he's, like, generating flames. What will Gideon say about all this? I could see Gideon having new dialogue related to what we find here, because these types of, like, secret hidden land that has to deal with the Erd Tree and all that, this is totally up Gideon's alley. He would love to get the scoop on this place. I think the Dark Palm is a new type of seal. I don't know about Seal. I could see this as trying to just be the From Software doing their typical thing where they're trying to add a little subtle detail to reflect how, yeah, you know what, this guy regularly uses flames. Kind of like how when we see Izalith in the cinematic, her hands are clearly singed as well. Like, it's clear that she's regularly worked with flames. Her like hands have like calluses and like burns and signs of all that stuff, right? I think it's a similar idea here. There's like this shadow stuff he generates to create a flame, and he's done this before. So you're seeing the residue of that previous instance. Right? And, how exactly does it appear? It has, like, these kind of, like, Nito stretch line type of deal going. Interesting. I don't want to say this is like the ciphers we see with the the two fingers, but it is interesting how it has these, like, stretchy, like, cloth-like look to it almost. And, yeah, we could see. These are hands that definitely look like they've handled fire before. And definitely shadowy fire. So then generates this. And now it starts gaining a red look to it. Right? So we can clearly see the sparks start to appear, right? They start generating. So at the core of the shadow, we're starting to have a flame grow. And then it just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going and going until the whole thing starts glowing. So yeah. Then suddenly the red starts appearing on the edges and stuff. You can start seeing it on the fringes on this area too. You already see like the glow effect happening on his hands. And then it starts glowing like this. And starts getting completely consumed. And becomes this flame. Now, if I had to guess, this is probably skipping a few frames in the cutscene for the sake of the trailer. Like, this probably goes on for a little longer. Because the hand is clearly, like, close to his, like, knee. But up here, it's obviously now close to his chest. And it's, like, even bigger than what we see. So that part's obvious. We see, of course, these draperies with this throne. This statue, I find most interesting. Is this supposed to be Marika? Like, what is she holding? A baby, it looks like? Is this supposed to be, like, she's, like, her secret bastard child she had or something with Radigan while she was still married to Godfrey or something? See more like proximity burns from the Lord Soul. Sorry for the tangent. I think all the lords are singed in the DS1 intro. Gawain's forms. We're not talking about Dark Souls here to that detailed, Night Scout. Like, take it up with me later. I wonder how the shadow stuff will tie into the existing shadow incantations, Loki. That is true. Because we do have shadow incantations connected to the two fingers, and this now brings into the question if the shadow tree is somehow connected to those shadow incantations. The way it curls around makes me think of the Briars of Sin. Yeah, but we don't see anything really thorny about it. That's the thing, so. I just thought of something. What if the Black Flames Mesmer uses are what's depicted on the Banished Knight Shield? My instinct would say no, but I think, like, in terms of pure facts, like, it could be. We're just gonna have to see in the DLC if there's a deeper connection there. The lion on the Banished Knight Shield might also look so janky because of the lion dancer thing. Again, I've said it before. I think the difference on, like, the Banished Knight and some of the farm colonist stuff on the lion thing is just because it's a different design. Like, I think it's just a matter of, like, you know, you have different artistic styles being applied to it, so it's gonna look a little different compared to others, and maybe it looks more janky or whatever you want to view it, but. Again, I don't think that art stuff there is going to tie into the lion dancers too much. I think they're just going to be like another example, a depiction of the lion. But we'll see, because the lion in the artwork especially doesn't have the horns or anything so prominent, or antlers even. So I don't think it's going to go that deep. I think it has the swirling cloak behind her actually. Do you see the swirling cloak? Is that actually there? I can't tell. I can't see it. I'm trying so hard to, like, look into this, like, shadowy darkness, and it might be. The closest I can see is, like, this here. This kind of maybe looks like that. What's weird to me, though, is that we clearly see a throne here, and maybe this is the base of the statue behind it.
Truly, lordship.
Yeah, it looks like this might be the base of that same statue, but I don't see the chair here. So is this like maybe, is this the top of the chair? Oh my god, I think that actually, yeah, I think that's actually the top of, I think that's the tip of the chair. Let me go back to the back here. Yeah, I think that's the tip of the chair. Do we see those little, like, thin pole things? Is that clear when we're looking here? Yeah, it is. You can see the line. So yeah, that chair, this is a bigger platform than I thought. I thought this was like this cloak thing that's like draped over here. This extends a lot farther. This angle makes this look like a very small stage. But if the chair is like that much hidden from this low of an angle and stuff, this is a very big stage. For sure. More veil imagery, yeah, more Acer and I were talking about, like, the Baldachin's blessing, too. It reminds us of that, like, bed imagery. But, yeah. So, there's this chair, and then there's this giant statue of potentially Marika holding something, maybe a baby, behind Mesmer. Which makes sense, because he references Marika in his dialogue, his mother. So, that makes sense. Also, this goes to the idea that this is definitely Marika's child, because, again, he's saying here, has mother, like, forgiven or permitted, has mother truly permitted kingship to one bereft of the light, right? Yeah. Yeah. So, like, he definitely seems like he's got a bit of a mommy complex. He wants mama's attention for something. We also get this spear look. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Have we seen anything like this spear? Some people have made comparisons to what the Giants use, but I don't think this design quite matches. It kind of reminds me of something like the Glowmite Queen, but I don't know if that design matches either. It may just be because we see the black spear tip with the fiery imagery. The statue behind Mesmer has a chain belt on the waist that dingles down just like Ratigan wears in the Elden Lord statues. A belt? I don't know where you see a belt. I'm struggling to see a belt here. She's definitely clutching something close. And a baby definitely makes the most sense to me, but it's... Another interesting thing is we clearly see how these snakes... So like I said before, I think we see a little... So we see like the snake head here, and it goes up here. You get some wings on the snake, which is very cool to see here. And then it drapes behind the person. We seem to see another little curl here. And then, of course, we see it also come out here. So it seems to be something like... Whoop, like curling around here somewhere, then goes behind his back again, and then goes around here, and then curls around his leg. So this definitely looks like Caduceus with wings. I don't remember if Caduceuses have wings in some of their depictions or not. Maybe they do. Definitely don't remember, like, bat-like devil wings, though, for sure. Definitely a lot of devil imagery in this place, with the reds and the blacks and the bat-like wings and the snakes and all that. Definitely has a very similar, like, Rykard feel to it. Red gems in the spear, aberrant sorcery related. Are those red gems? They look dark, so I can't tell if it's actually red, but maybe. Could be related to the aberrant sorcerers. Armor very reminiscent of the Drake Knight set. Yeah, there's a lot of dragon imagery in this, but the Drake Knight set has wings, which is I think where most people get that impression, but the wings seem to be part of the actual snakes here. So, like, you see one sticking out here, one here on its upper body. So, I don't know if it's as much of a connection as people think. I think the best argument is this, like, scale armor he has and the dragon-like helm he's got. Check the images on the official website, Loki. Okay, I'll have to check those images on the website again, because I don't remember the detail there. What if she clutches one of the stone tablets like the Ul Elder statue? I wouldn't know what that means, though. That's true. That's possible. The problem is this looks like a cloth, like a swaddling cloth she's holding. This doesn't look like a tablet or anything like that. But again, it's a trailer. It could just be that we're not getting a good enough look at this to see that it's a tablet. So again, I don't want to like cut off that possibility either. I don't know why, but the spear reminded me of Giza's wheel. Yeah, it feels like something like that, right? Like it just has that feel to it, and I don't know why. It just feels so familiar when I look at this, and I can't put my finger on it. It looks like he has a devil tail with that twin snakes. That's true, that's true. This almost gives him that devil look with the snake down here, right? For sure. Near the left hand below the guard. Oh, I see now. You guys are talking about this here. Yeah, there's 3 bright, like, gems here. I was looking at this here and thinking that's what you're referring to. Yeah, definitely bright. Could just be rubies, but yeah, you know, if there's blood involved with this guy, with all the red he's got sporting, could be aberrant sorcery related too. Definitely something to look into. I talked about with Acer the idea that I wouldn't be surprised if Mesmer's philosophy and what makes him stand out from the other demigods we've encountered is that he's trying to reconcile contradictions within the Golden Order related to fire and the tree. So there's obviously the Erd Tree, which of course has to exist and live as the basis of like everything related to the demigods, right? Like it's sort of like the core foundation of their faith. But then you also have fire, which he's clearly not opposed to, evidently, but is used to burn the tree. And I think he's trying to merge the two as like this one synergistic whole, and that goes to the helix structure and the caduceus and all this other stuff, where he's trying to essentially make it where fire can coexist with the tree. In this philosophy, sort of that helps differentiate him from Rykard, who's all about, you know, burning down the tree, right? Of completely rejecting the Erd Tree and embracing blasphemy and all that stuff. So that's what that's got me thinking. Magma Blade have similar stones. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Anyway, let's keep going. We've looked at this frame, I think, enough. We see the fire. Reminds me a lot of Chaos Flame and the Giant's Flame from the Fell God and stuff. But again, I would not be surprised if this has nothing to do with giants. And this could just be purely related to the Shadow Tree. Maybe this is the idea of creating a flame born from the shadows of the Erd Tree. Which, again, I don't know what the deeper lore implications would be there, but that would be like me spitballing. But again, he has red hair. So, again, could just be that he's a child of Radigan and Marika. Maybe the bastard child before she married Radigan with Godfrey. Like, maybe before or after Renala married Radigan. Marika had a baby here as part of, like, her research into the Golden Order and stuff. What's interesting here is that he has, like, a slit-eye golden pupil, which is... Obviously, gold is so deeply tied to, like, those with grace in the lands between, so that's itself is not weird. But the slit-eye pupil, you know, starts bringing that snake imagery we have here. Now we see, like, this snake with, like, you know, dragon-like wings. Now, I've said that this armor is very draconic, but the more I'm seeing the snake stuff and looking at the head here, this looks like a snake with red eyes here, if you look closely. I would be surprised if this guy actually has zero connection to dragons and it's actually all snakes. That would not surprise me either at this point. Definitely a dragon communer, you think? I would want to see more scales on him or stuff. But yeah, I could see there still being a dragon connection. But I definitely would not be surprised though if this is purely a snake dude and he's got nothing connection to dragons directly. New fire god, lol. I love the chime when the flame grows. Yeah, that's kind of cool. The way the black interlacing with the flames reminds me of the paintings of the Erd Tree burning. I'd have to look at that because I don't remember anything specific. We're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see. Yeah, we're just gonna have to see with this guy. What's going on with you? What if, it'd be funny if he's actually not a dragon communer. What if he's a snake communer? What if you could do the same thing if you eat a snake? Or a snake heart or something. That'd be funny. But anyway, moving on. So here, we see like a catacomb-like entrance type of thing here. These guys have like candelabras and stuff. We're at the halfway point, chat. We're finally at the halfway point. Very dark black arms and horns. So I'm assuming these things are inhuman. I could see this being connected to the race which make up the Revenant followers, right? With the bell ringers. I don't see a second pair of arms, set of arms, though. So it could also be like dragon people. Maybe people who've taken an incomplete communion but didn't turn into true dragons or something. Ooh, it does look like there's a bell, though, attached to them, at least. Yeah, I don't think they're holding a bell. It does look like there's just a bell here. So that's interesting. More graves and stuff. This is where the graves start looking more physical. So again, this could be like really close to the base of the Shadow Tree. I could see that being the case.
Of light.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything. These are just like bandages and stuff they have. There's the bell. Hard to tell if that's the yellow grass. It might just be look like that because of the contrast with the dark, but it might be just green stuff. This is looking like the gold stuff that's dripping from the Shadow Tree, which could add to the idea that this is more examples of, like, you know, at the base of the Shadow Tree, this type of stuff exists. Like, this may be the... Look at the water. This could be the beginning of that swamp with that Chateau Manor thing we saw earlier in the swamp land. Green grass. Yeah, this looks green to me looking at the corner by that coffin thing. The yellow is definitely more pronounced in the top right corner on the mountain walls. So Tanith is trying to become the next god-devouring serpent and found the snake and Rykard as her meal. Yeah. I mean, isn't that the idea, right? Like, she's trying to eat through Rykard to try to continue the blasphemy. So yeah, it could be something similar there. So you think the snake might not even be immortal then? That's an interesting idea. God of perfume of the perfumers. That looks like the spine that guy pulls out from himself. You think so? The candelabra, you mean? So you think this might be like servants to that dude or something? Yeah, you know what? I could see it. You're right. That's a very good point there. So these guys could be connected to that dude in the portrait who stabbed. Or maybe they're like his guardians or something to make sure he stays that way. I'm trying to get a good look at their feet to see if there's any like keys here. Like these could be claws. Hard to say. They got this like jewelry stuff they're wearing. Ooh. Ooh, what happened here? Did someone blow fire or are they blowing it from the candelabra? Blow fire, breathe fire. Loki, you idiot.
Bereft of light.
Yeah, it seems like he's blowing from the candelabra because I think it's blocking his face the entire time. Now, unfortunately, we don't get a good look at that face. That's what I really want to see. Oh, there's a third guy here in the corner now. We can see. So there's 3 of them. So this character is surrounded in the trailer. Okay, good to know. Yeah, we only get the back of their head and see the horn, so it's really hard to say how radical this transformation is, or if that's just like a headdress or something he's wearing. Their arms are definitely very long, but that's like the lankiness is like key to a lot of enemies here. Yeah, unfortunately, they're really trying to hide the heads on these enemies, so it's really hard to see. The candlesticks they wield are the same design on the Newman cavalry that can be seen in the official website images. All right, you said they were Newman there. Yeah, it could be Newman if this dark skin is significant. But again, I want to see their faces before I say it. Like, someone could say these are Draconian and the dark skin is because of that. Because don't Draconian have, like, blackish skin, too? This looks like the veiled town we saw earlier, but I don't remember seeing